Let's dance. Let's dance.
Oh, let's dance. Got it. Got it.
What'd you think he said?
I had no idea what he said. What I said, or
I think your ears are going.
Might not be wrong. What I'm going to say is, good morning, upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. What up, world? Welcome in and welcome back for the first time in 7 months. The Rob Brown Show is live from the palatial Fan Upstate studios. At least it felt like 7 months since I have sat in this chair across from the handsome devil himself, the great one, Lonzo, speaking into this particular microphone. But alas, we are here. We are back. And it is time to rock and roll on a Monday. I will tell you, another short week as I am out this Friday. I will also tell you, listen.
Listen. Yeah, you saw what happened to him, right? He had a mouthful of thumbtacks. That was not good. People are getting tired of you just, I'm going to take a day off here. I'm going to take a day off there. I mean, it sounds like what the privileged do.
If being privileged is having vacation days, then I consider myself privileged.
Well, it is to some people, I suppose.
That's probably also fair. Friday, got to get down on Friday. I will not be getting down on Friday. That is not true. I will be very getting down on Friday because Rob Brown will be headed over to the ATL with the little bro and an assorted cast and crew of characters for bachelor party weekend this weekend. And don't tell him I said this because I'm very grateful. The little brother put this whole thing together. He is the best man for this September's festivities. He's like super pumped. He's like, yo, dude, you're going to love it. I said, great. What are we doing? He said, Thursday, come to the ATL. Which, by the way, Thursday, we got another big event going on Thursday. All right? Because Thursday, myself and Diesel will be live during Wire to Wire from Panther Fan Fest down at Memorial Stadium, Death Valley North in Clemson, South Carolina. And then when that is over, I will get into the rig. I will make my way over to Atlanta, Georgia, where on Thursday evening, the little brother, myself, cast and crew of characters, will spend some time hanging out in the Airbnb, just broing it up a little bit. Then on Friday, I will be getting down on Friday. We're going to play a little golf on Friday late morning. We're going to do a little tour de force around some of the finer establishments of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm not saying what those establishments are. I'm just saying it's been floated into the atmosphere that lemon pepper wings may or may not be on the agenda.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Yeah. I wanted to know. So you're going to be able to firsthand. This time it's actually going to happen, right? Because you've said many times.
I'm not guaranteeing a damn thing about this weekend.
Okay, all right.
All right?
You should guarantee one thing. Don't get arrested, man.
Yeah, we'll guarantee I'm not getting arrested.
Okay, because just don't get arrested. Because, I mean.
That's the plan.
You and your brother together and the other guy. I mean, I don't know.
Little brother's an attorney, right? Yeah, so, I got that going for me, which is nice.
Yeah, I knew that.
I don't plan on utilizing his services. I'm just saying they're there if I must.
As an attorney, is there caution involved when he's, I mean, from what you're saying, I'm not so sure. So, I mean,
I don't know if it's caution so much as like knowledge of what will and will not happen based on various activities should they be undertaken. So I will say that lemon pepper wings are not a guarantee, but are on the table as a possibility. Then on Saturday, we're going to get up. We're going to play a little more golf on Saturday. Then Saturday evening, and this is the part that's very interesting, the little brother acquired for the group of us tickets to go watch the Atlanta Braves play. I don't want to watch the Atlanta Braves play. They're Like they beat the Mets. Yay! But remember a week ago tomorrow, I made a guarantee on the show. Remember a week ago tomorrow, I said, hey, yo, by a week from today, the Braves will no longer be in the number one wild card spot. And you remember how Lonzo played over and over and over, clips like, oh, man, that was very depressing. I had something working there. I had something cooking. Anyway, he played clips like, nope, from our guy Darby Allin, from All Elite Wrestling, by the way. Speaking of All Elite Wrestling.
I hear they're coming to town this week.
Not only are they coming to town on Wednesday, but we got a big, we announced it last week, but we'll make. I was
going to say, did you remember that we actually announced it?
We'll re-announce it later. Played our friend of the show, Darby Allin's nope.
Hell no.
Over and over. That was Shane Beamer, not Darby Allin, obviously. So
I'm not playing it because he's going to use my thing against me, and I'm not gonna participate.
Hell no.
So I said a week ago tomorrow that by tomorrow's show, I guarantee that the Braves will not be in the number one wild card spot. Well, granted, they're back in second place in the division now, but last Friday night, 3 nights ago, which was not, and I did the research on this, not tomorrow. It's actually before tomorrow was last Friday night. Last Friday night, the Braves weren't even second place in their own division anymore as they dropped back-to-backers against the Mets, the New York Mets. Now, granted, the Braves got both of them back to split the series a deuce apiece in the 4-gamer, and the Braves are now back to 1 1/2 games ahead of the New York Mets, but that wasn't the guarantee that I made, was it? What was the guarantee that I made? The guarantee that I made was that the Atlanta Braves would not, with a capital N-O, be in the number one wild card spot by Tuesday. Hey, you want to know something super fun and exciting? The Braves are not in the number one wild card spot as they are a win behind the San Diego Padres now. So there's that.
So you're excited about being right about your team stinking.
I don't want to be right about my team stinking, but I am right about my team stinking.
Okay.
I don't like it.
All right, good.
Tis what it is.
Okay.
So we'll see where it plays out. Now, just so we're clear, technically.
Did you tell your brother, no, I'm not going?
No, absolutely not. I'm still going. It's just that it's going to be more about Saturday being for the boys than it's going to be about, yay, I get to watch the soon-to-be defending World Series champs play, because they're not doing that. Technically, before anybody blows me up, technically, the Braves are still technically in the number one wild card spot because they are technically a game up on the Padres because the Padres have played fewer games. Have played, 2 more games? But technically.
Wow. So all that to make yourself look right, but you weren't really.
No, I am. Just not technically.
You're a science guy. Technically is all you do.
Technically, the Braves are still in the number one wildcard spot. But they are 1 game up on the Padres and have only played, I think, 2 games more than the Padres and have fewer wins at this point. So I'm going to say that while I am not accurate technically today, Atlanta is 1 game up on the Padres, and that's not good enough. It's just not good enough. So we'll see what plays out. Atlanta's at Milwaukee today, and Atlanta today will be pitching Grant Holmes off the bump today. there's a better chance than not that Atlanta loses this game. And if Atlanta drops this game tonight, which I'm not pulling for them to do, just so we're abundantly clear. I'm not pulling for the L this evening. But if Atlanta does drop this game tonight, I will be right about tomorrow. By tomorrow, I will be right. So we'll find out. We'll find out how that's going to go. I don't want to be right. This will be one of the very few times that I will be very happy to come in here tomorrow and go, I was wrong. But if I'm wrong, I'll be wrong by one game. And okay, I was pretty close to right. And pretty close to right is it's just as good as being right. Right? Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, it's not.
So we are going to talk.
Horseshoes and hand grenades come to mind. I don't know.
Horseshoe, my old middle school coach used to say, close enough only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and nuclear weapons.
Well,
no, sorry, wait. Close enough only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and nuclear weapons.
There you go.
You got to get it right.
Yeah, nuclear.
Nuclear weapons. All right. So we'll talk some Braves ball later on in the show. But I will be at the Braves game on Saturday. I will not be here on Friday. And just in case you've been waiting with bated breath since mere moments ago, and you did not hear the announcement on the show last Thursday, we will FYI you now. Coming up tomorrow on the show at 8:20 a.m., and we are very excited about it. All Elite Wrestling's Orange Cassidy will be here in studio with us tomorrow.
We've been given a time, but
should I do that whole interview with my hands in my pockets?
Sure. That will take some effort because that would be the first time ever you didn't drop something. Also, staying in character, will he be on time? Because I would think he would be late, right?
I mean, I don't think he's ever missed a bell before, has he?
No, but I mean, if you're from wherever and, all the whatever stuff, does that require you to be punctual?
I mean, nothing is required.
Okay. If
we'll see.
If he were late, I would not be mad. I would think it was, I
wouldn't be upset about it.
I'm not suggesting that he should be late, but it would work,
We'll see. We got the OC, Orange Cassidy, coming in to the show tomorrow. Very excited to welcome him into the studio tomorrow. Again, that is at 8:20 a.m. So make sure you're here for that. What else?
They're not here till Wednesday, so there's always a chance that someone else might make their way in here too. Wednesday. You never know.
That is true. It could get weird. All right. We'll see what happens when it happens. That's on tomorrow's show. Coming up today on the show, we've got a lot that we need to get into and discuss on the radio program. We've got to talk about the antitrust settlement. We have learned a little bit more about what that looks like, including the potential institution for unlimited scholarships, but limited roster spots in the land of collegiate basketball. And just so we are clear, and this is entirely unsurprising. Dabo's not happy about it. Dabo's not happy about it at all. And he let us all know that last week. So we'll talk about that. Speaking of Dabo, last Thursday, we were live at ACC Media Days in Charlotte, North Carolina. And we had, after the morning show was over, the opportunity to sit down with Cade Klubnik, the starting quarterback for the Clemson Tigers entering the 2024 season. We had the opportunity to sit down with Dabo Swinney, the starting quarterback of the 2024 Clemson Tigers, and with the opportunity to speak with Don Munson, the voice of the Clemson Tigers. We will play those interviews for you throughout the day today. So, Clemson fans, you're going to want to make sure that you are tuned in to all 4 hours of the radio broadcast today, because we will be breaking down everything that we heard from Clemson last week at Media Days today, only because I was off on Friday. So we'll get you caught up on that. We've got 1,000 Olympic stories that we need to talk about. Team USA basketball on the men's side yesterday got way the better of Nikola Jokic and Team Serbia, including a ridiculous day from Kevin Durant. And a ridiculous day from LeBron James. So we'll talk some Team US basketball. The women of Team USA basketball will have their first matchup this afternoon, 3 p.m., when they take on Japan. We'll talk about that. We have got Simone Biles back in action after, obviously, the last Olympics of 2020 having to drop out due to getting a case of the yips. She's back. And not only is she back, but she went out there with a jacked up wheel and posted the highest all-around score in the initial team for U.S. gymnastics. You don't think we're going to talk about the GOAT? Of course we're going to talk about the GOAT. So we'll get to that coming up later in the show. We've got NBA training camps that have opened up for everybody around the country. So we got some news and notes, including talking a little bit about the Carolina Panthers.
That'll be great, man.
Coming up later on in the show.
Are we talking about the great disrespect of salaries?
Yes. I'm ever so glad that you brought it up, because Lonzo sent me on whatever day he sent it to me a DM. He slid into my DMs last week, and he sent me a write-up of the highest paid quarterbacks in the National Football League on a per year deal. And since this, I've spun this around in the old noodle, like a lot of times. Spun it around in the old brain stem of one Rob Brown. Because you got to count very high to do this job. You got to be able to do some numbers. He sent me a list of the 8 highest paid per season quarterbacks in the National Football League. And I decided to count up all the Super Bowl rings betwixt them. How many did they have? Wonderful question. I'm going to tell you after this break, because I absolutely do want to talk about this. So when we come back here in just a minute, Tua Tagovailoa has got that bag. Jordan Love got that bag. Where do they rank amongst the highest paid per season quarterbacks in the National Football League? And are they and the other 6 guys on this list worth it? We're going to talk about that when we come back in just a minute. I am Rob Brown, the great one Lonzo, the alpha and the omega of the fan upstate on the ones and twos. The Rob Brown Show is live. The foremost electrifying hours in sports talk entertainment is here on the fan upstate.
All right, so I walked in here Friday and noticed the temperature and made sure I mentioned it to engineering, and they've been trying to make adjustments all over the building, and it's not going well. So it's a little toasty in here.
Oh, really? I feel this is the first time in a while I'm like, it's very nice in here.
Okay. Why would that make you?
Because I get cold from.
Oh, okay. But it's hot in here, so I don't know why that's relevant.
I'm not hot at all.
Okay.
Which is nice for me.
Whoa. That was a really large bird that just came up through the window. Maybe it was a hoot owl.
nation's leaders in regenerative medicine, QC Kinetics uses the body's own healing components to help provide relief and functionality. 10 months ago, I had difficulty walking up and down a flight of steps. Now I can do just about anything I desire. I'm back to the old me. If you have joint pain, before you consider surgery, call.
Call me or whatever.
Going to.
The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. I have a question for you NFL fans. At what point and which quarterback will it be that a team eventually says no to? The highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL on a year-by-year basis are these. Jordan Love, who just signed Jordan Love, who just signed his first extension that is going to pay him $55 million annually. That matches Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow at $53.1 million after he just signed an extension is Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. Just ahead of Jared Goff. Justin Herbert is making $52.5 million. Lamar Jackson is making $52 even, and Jalen Hurts is making $51 million. That is the highest 8 per year paid quarterback contracts in the National Football League. Now, Lonzo sent me that list last week. And my thought was, that is a combined, and I did the math. I had to take off my shoes to make sure that I could count that high. That is a combined 0 Super Bowl rings betwixt the 8 highest paid quarterbacks in the National Football League. Jordan Love obviously does not have one. Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville, both of those quarterbacks, young guys trying to help drag a team up from mediocrity. Joe Burrow has been to a Super Bowl, but obviously did not win it. Tua Tagovailoa last year helped the Dolphins have an incredible regular season, but then they went up to Kansas City and played in an unacceptably cold football game and got demolished by the Chiefs. Jared Goff, obviously has his team as good as it has been in forever. Justin Herbert in San Diego, well, used to be San Diego. How long is it going to take me to stop doing that?
Forever.
Seriously. Justin Herbert in Los Angeles has himself a new head coach this year. Has not sniffed a Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson has gotten very close, but has been unable to seal the deal. And, of course, you have Jalen Hurts in Philly and the collapse that team went through last year. 0 combined Super Bowls. But I also think that it is important, and this is what I think has been lost in the fold. And this is one of those spots that I'm almost going to come across as a fence sitter on this one. But you guys know that I am big on context. Context of things matters. I was yesterday, as I drove back to the upstate of South Carolina from lovely St. Augustine, Florida, I was listening to a number of different sports talk radio stations from different cities and regions that I drove through in my 6-hour drive from St. Augustine to Greenville yesterday. And just about every one of them that I heard had some form of this conversation. But there was something else very interesting about it. None of them addressed the context of the quarterbacks. None of them addressed the teams, the position players around these quarterbacks, the situations that they were drafted into, et cetera, et cetera. The one that jumped off the page at me to start, and the reason that I wanted to get into this conversation, was Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, of course, drafted to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence, of course, showing up during the Urban Meyer year. Of course, there's a lot of other factors that have made Jacksonville. I have said the Urban Meyer year, as far as I am concerned, and it's not, though I have said it this way many times in the past, not a joke. I don't count the Urban Meyer year against Trevor Lawrence. In fact, if anything, I extend his grace period due to being around that toxic individual that is Urban Meyer. He gets an extra year of learning the game from me based on that.
Nope.
If you think that the mentality and the attitude and the environment propped up by any head coach is irrelevant to the discussion of all people, a team's quarterback, then I don't know how to have a conversation with you. Do you think that is Andy Reid irrelevant to Patrick Mahomes, Lonzo? Is Andy Reid unimportant to the accomplishments of Patrick Mahomes?
Players get stuck with bad coaches all the time, but you pick certain guys that you want to give a pass to them. Him and Bryce Young. Oh, it's not their fault. No, there are other players on the that have dealt with bad coaches throughout time and will continue to deal with them.
They're not.
Do
the
they
only
get
ones.
a pass? No. Should he get a pass? No.
They're not the only ones. I have given a pass to Russell Wilson for what happened in Denver because Sean Payton is overrated and outclassed. They're not the only ones.
That's sour grapes from you, though. Everyone knows that.
And not just Sean Payton. Not just Sean Payton. No sour grapes against Sean Payton. He won a Lombardi. Won my only Lombardi.
Yeah, and then he left.
Yes.
And now you don't have to defend him anymore.
I don't defend him because he's outclassed, but I'll put him aside because he's not the only one. And in fact, I can even compare the Denver Broncos situation to Jacksonville because the guy before Sean Payton was Hoopst. Nathaniel can't hack it. That dragged that program so far down that the dudes in the locker rooms in that organization, as far as I'm concerned, all get a pass, not just Russell Wilson.
All right, can you've named 2 coaches. When's the last time Denver was relevant?
Pre-Nathaniel can't hack it.
Oh, way before that. So, I mean, you can't bring a team down that hadn't been up in a really long time.
No, but you can hold them down further. You can keep them from reaching
all I've
relevancy.
seen is people continuing to make them mid, which is what they are and what they've been for a while.
My point here is, if you don't think culture and environment are important, I'm sorry, you don't know ball. Lonzo knows ball. That's why I'm shocked by this.
I'm not giving anyone a pass. I mean, deal with it. I've had bad bosses before. I don't right now, but I've had them before. I can't go, well, my performance was because of my boss. No, my performance needs to be up to par with everybody else, and I cannot blame my boss for that.
I don't disagree, but great one. If you came in to do a show and only half your buttons were working on the board and your mic wouldn't turn on, etc.
Okay.
And then you did a crap show.
Tell me a story that hasn't happened. What we do here at Odyssey of Greenville, or the Upstate, or whatever we're called now, is we do, the name changes a bunch, okay? And I'm old. So, I mean, what we do here is we make less sound like more, because it's quality over quantity. If half my buttons don't work, the ones that do work are going to sound good.
Okay. So, while I appreciate Lonzo's deep desire to refuse this as a reality, we're just going to have
I
to
acknowledge that it's your reality, but that doesn't make it a universal reality or a high percentage reality.
All right. If any of y'all have just never in your life had your performance held back by the environment you were in, congratulations, you lived a blessed life. Because that's reality.
Poor Trevor Lawrence. Poor. No, I can't say poor because he's not.
He's very rich. He's making $55 million a year.
I don't feel sorry for Trevor Lawrence.
Again, I'm not saying I feel bad for the guy. What I am saying is I am giving him a grace period because the garbage that he was throwing. And by the way, it wasn't just the coach. Keep in mind that at the point in time that Trevor was brought in, it was at the point in time where Shad Khan was, without doing it out loud, threatening to move the Jags out of Jacksonville. If you don't think all of these things create a mental barrier between him and the ability to just go play quarterback, I don't know what to say to you. I'm not going to win you over, and that's okay. But for me, it does matter. So I think the context of these contracts are also important. I think the context that we look at these contracts is important. So when we come back, let's do that as well. Let's look at where these quarterbacks are. Let's look at the teams they are on, the talent that is around them, and see, do any of them actually deserve it? Is there a team that should say no to an extension for a quarterback that is somewhere in, let's say, the top 20 in the league? Let's keep this conversation going next on the Rob Brown Show. Rob Lonzo and you, it is the Fan Upstate. I mean, if I was going to be swarmed by bugs, I think dragonflies are the bug I want, right? Like dragonflies are harmless.
No, agreed. As long as you keep your mouth closed, you're good. But,
right.
But still, I mean, look at the amount.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
But I think dragonflies are the insect, if I had to be swarmed, I would want, because not only are they harmless to you, as you mentioned, as long as you don't scream and have one fly in your mouth.
Well, in this case, it probably would have been multiple with the amount that are there. Yeah.
Here's a fun fact that I'm aware of. Dragonflies are the most efficient and successful hunters in the animal kingdom. They have a success rate of over 90% on a hunt. 9 out of 10 times they hunt a bug, they kill it and eat it. Which means that in this swarm of dragonflies, there ain't another bug within a mile of you.
Do they eat their own, though? I don't know.
Do they?
I don't know.
I can't Google cannibals.
Yeah, you shouldn't. Yeah. By the way, Deadpool and Wolverine is the best of the three. Very, very, very good.
Yeah, I'm going to see it tonight. Either tonight or tomorrow, but I'm trying to talk. The lady friend asked me to wait for her, and I'm like, fine, but you have till two. It has to be tonight or tomorrow.
Also, Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, are we ready to talk about it? Because I'm ready to talk about it.
Why would we not be ready to talk about it? It's I don't know. And I spent some time yesterday watching some things on YouTube about in the comics when he actually was dying.
Ultimate Iron Man.
There was also a time where Victor Von Doom switched personality. It took over his body.
Yep.
And still, Tony Stark became a hero, but he became a hero in Latveria. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
So I have my theory. I have two theories. Theory number one is that he is coming from a multiverse where Stark didn't almost die in the desert, so he just stayed an arms dealer, and he just got progressively more carried away with it. And theory number two is he's from a universe where the Iron Legion program worked and there was no Ultron. And so he just kept progressively building on that to the point that he got wrapped up in power because he wanted to, at one point, he said in front of Congress, I'd be willing to accept the Secretary of Defense position. So that would have began his rise through the hierarchy of power until he ultimately became a dictator. Now, neither of those necessarily puts him in Latveria, which is problematic. But it also doesn't, by definition, prevent him from ending up there.
He's pretty good. He's had some flops, but he's still pretty good. So I think I trust the Russos.
I do.
And what a pivot they had to do to get away from Kang. You know, they had all that, and they had to get away from that because it shows you what happens when an actor does something really stupid. Overall, the stuff that I saw from Comic-Con, from San Diego Comic-Con, is a little underwhelming, but better than last year. So I'm not even sure there was one last year, was there? Did you see Harrison Ford coming out on the stage?
I did.
That was
I watched a lot of Comic-Con video while I was down there. My man Steven down in my old hometown of Destin, Florida says, Destin in late July heat hits totally different. I wasn't ready. Yes, it does.
I'm guessing he's not still there. If he is, man, that's like a 2-week vacation, and it must be nice.
Maybe. I don't know, but I can tell you for certain it does indeed. It do hit different. It do be like that for sure.
See, I think heat and that kind of stuff it's okay at the beach because you're at the beach.
I mean, if you're a water guy, for sure. Let's get back to these conversations about the highest paid quarterbacks in the National Football League. Because like I mentioned, there is something that is bothering me about the way that host and fans are approaching this conversation. And I will even acknowledge that I had the exact same reaction that I think other people are having. And I as I try to do, took a few minutes to really look at this and try to focus on it in context, right? Because Lonzo sent me, after the extensions of Tua Tagovailoa and Jordan Love, he sent me a tweet from Adam Schefter that lists the highest per season paid quarterbacks in the National Football League. As we have mentioned, Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, Jared Goff, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, and Jalen Hurts. Each of them making over $51 million per year. The top two making top three, Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence, and Joe Burrow, each making $55 million per year. And my reaction to Lonzo was 0 combined rings. Holy crap, that's wild. Because it is.
But I think the first thing a lot of people think, well, it's next man up. It was his turn. Didn't Patrick Mahomes have a contract somewhere recently?
Yes, he did. And Patrick Mahomes, as some quarterbacks do, took a discount, right, to help the team out. And that is one of the things that I want to mention. Because I know it is, and I don't remember the exact number. But a former host on this show loved not much more than pointing out that if you look at the list of quarterbacks that have won the Super Bowl in the past, 15, 20 years, whatever it is, none of them had a contract that ate up more than like 27 something % of their team's salary cap. Effectively, if you have a quarterback that is inside the top 10, 11, 12 highest paid contracts in the league, you don't win a Super Bowl. Now, again, because context matters, I think it is very important to point out that, and again, I've done extensive research on this, only one team can win the Super Bowl and only once per year. This is why it kind of drives me crazy when we have a Super Bowl matchup and they open by going, and the Super Bowl this year, the San Francisco 49ers, who have not been to the Super Bowl in 3 seasons. It's like, yeah, it's real hard to do. Like it's real hard to do. But I think the context of these situations matters. I think where they are matters. I would look at Joey B, for instance. Sorry, not Joey B, Joey M, Manem, for instance. Joey M, Manem, making $55 million a year, has brought his team to a Super Bowl. And if it wasn't for one of the GOATs of all time, probably would have won one. But I would also make the argument, looking at Joey B, that if we're keeping it a buck, the Bengals are as good as they have been, Lonzo, since ?
Okay. They've been to the Super Bowl before.
Yeah, but when? When's the last time the Bengals were as good as they are right now?
When some guy with blonde hair named Boomer was there? I don't know.
Exactly. The point is, with Joey B, the Bengals are as good as they've ever been. And I am unwilling to say that if Joey B didn't have an injury that kept him off the field last year, the Bengals weren't a threat. Not saying they would have done it, saying they were a threat last year. And I don't think it's ridiculous to say that they're a threat this year. Now, I don't know how long they keep the team together.
I think you'd have to say they're a threat because they're the only team, as far as that goes, that have beaten Kansas City.
Yeah.
Buffalo hasn't done that. But Cincinnati has.
So is it fair then?
Buffalo hasn't done it when it counts in the playoffs.
And they're not going to do it this year either. Is it fair then to say that Joey B deserves a spot on this list? The answer to me is yes.
Out of that entire list, he's the one I thought was most deserving when I was looking at it.
Absolutely. Could not disagree with that if I had to. Joey B deserves it. I'll give you another guy that I think deserves it. Hey, Lamar Jackson deserves it. If you look at the Ravens the last couple of years, I think the Ravens have been a team that have wasted prime Lamar. Last year is my biggest example. Last year, this team makes its way to a game with a Super Bowl ticket on the line and then changed everything in that game. Changed the way they played offense, changed the way they played defense. I'll never understand what John Harbaugh was doing in that. I'll never get it. How do you have a team that's running the ball efficiently and effectively all year long? All year long, they're riding the Gus bus all year. And then they make it to that game, and then they run the ball 4 times in that game? Why? I know you've got Lamar, and I want you to turn Lamar loose. But the reason Lamar was effective was because you rode the Gus bus for so many games that teams had to, even with Lamar Jackson back there, had to dial in on stopping the Gus bus. And then that opened the field up for Lamar. But when they realized, they're afraid of our defensive line, so they're not going to run Gus, so now we can defend the edges, now Lamar becomes ineffective. And that's what happened. Now, if you would like to ask, or if you would like to state with any sort of definitiveness that Lamar still needs to be effective, even though at that point, the entire defense became stop Lamar Jackson, you make that argument. But at the end of the day, my man's not Superman. He's a guy. This isn't a comic book. He can't do it by himself. Very few guys can. This is why, put us on alert, maybe this is disrespecting the Chiefs, but this is why, fair or not, so many people are thinking this is the year that Patrick Mahomes comes down to earth because they got Hollywood, but outside of Hollywood and Travis Kelce, there are question marks about how effective other skill talent's going to be around him.
Xavier, and
a guy you know nothing about.
Except for he looks good in practice, but, and also the fastest man ever in the NFL. Then there's the fact that the defense is still pretty good, and Pacheco supposedly looks better this year than he did last year, and also the fact that the Raiders did something that they shouldn't have done.
So we are talking about Kermit the Mahomes later.
And you were talking about motivation. They have given him that.
That's not wrong. Chiefs are going to beat the Raiders by a cumulative 1,000 points this year.
Or maybe they're angry in every game.
We'll find out.
Of that.
But the point here is, not to make it a Chiefs segment, the point here is the reason bettors are out on the Chiefs to go back and win the Super Bowl this year is because of questions about the talent around. Not because of Mahomes. No one has any question that Patrick Mahomes is good enough. The question mark is the guys around him this year. Are they good enough? And it's a valid question. You don't have to like it, but it's valid.
Were they better last year? The receivers? Were
you
they better last?
Can we keep it a buck? You were lucky to have Rashee Rice break out to carry you. Yes.
Okay, yes. Okay, so no, they weren't better last year because, I mean, name some other receivers.
From last year?
Yeah, the Super Bowl. Don't look it up.
Travis Kelce.
No.
Isaiah Pacheco. You had dudes. Listen, stop. Let me be clear. This is not a segment about the Kansas City Chiefs. All right? It's not. What I am saying here is the context around your quarterback matters. This is why I asked Lonzo, is Andy Reid a factor in the success of Mahomes? And we didn't get an answer, even though we all know it's yes. And if a coach can be a positive factor in the success of a quarterback, a coach can also be a negative factor in the success of a quarterback.
We need to start odds on this program about who's the next guy you're going to give a pass to, because I'm curious.
Answer the question, yes or no. Is Andy Reid important to Patrick Mahomes? Yes or no?
I don't need.
Yes or no?
I don't need to answer the question because it's. Come on, dude.
Yes or no?
I mean, obviously he's important.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
But we don't. We'll never know how important unless Patrick Mahomes switches teams. So we'll never know that.
But
and
you admit that he is.
Hopefully he never will.
How important is irrelevant? The answer is he has had a positive impact on Patrick Mahomes.
All right, you still haven't proven your point, but you feel happy about it. So that's good.
I have absolutely proven my point. Because if a coach can be, as you just said, Andy Reid is, a positive influence on a player, they can also be a negative influence on the player. Who else on this list does that apply to? Justin Herbert, under Staley, has been playing in a program the last couple of years that has been not just hampered, but has been straight up handcuffed and thrown into a basement by the last coaching regime.
Yeah, now they're going to run the ball a bunch because it's hardball.
Listen, so that we're clear, I'm not sold on Jim Harbaugh. I'm not. I'm one of 4 media people, Lonzo being one of the other 3.
Oh, no, you're wrong. If you look at Jim Harbaugh's NFL record, it's pretty good, man.
I'm not disagreeing.
It's pretty good.
It's great.
Now the question is, has it passed him by? He was only gone for a while. Has it passed him by? We'll see. Again, he's got decent talent, but he also has a juggernaut that he's going to have to go up against a couple times. Can they still make the playoffs? Absolutely.
Exactly what I'm saying. I'm not. This is so that we're clear. I'm not sold on is not the same as I think he'll fail. It's I don't know, and I'm not. I can give you my thought.
I think I'm not sold on definitely implies that you think they'll fail.
It does not imply that it implies nothing. Okay?
Okay.
It doesn't imply anything. It outright directly states, I don't know if Jim Harbaugh's NFL abilities are there still.
When I hear it, and of course I could be the only one, when I hear you say that makes me think that you're not, that you think they'll fail.
If you want to assign to me what I mean when I've told you what I mean, that's on you, not me. Okay? What I mean is this. I don't know if Jim Harbaugh still got it. I don't know. I don't know if he still got it, right?
I personally hope he doesn't, but I think his track record shows that he's a very good NFL coach.
If you made me take a bet, I would say yes. I would take the bet that he does still got it, but I'm not taking that bet. The point here is, again, not even about Jim Harbaugh. The point here is about Staley and the regime that was there before, which I absolutely believe hampered Justin Herbert. So is Justin Herbert worth $52.5 million? The real answer is you don't know and I don't know. We don't know yet. Well, I don't think we have ever gotten to see how good Justin Herbert can be. We've seen moments of greatness and we've seen moments where that offense looked like crap. And I don't know who is more to credit or blame in those situations. So what I'm saying here is this. I've heard the question a lot this weekend. When's it going to be that an NFL team says no to a quarterback? No, you are not worth $55 million. You are not worth 29-30% of our salary cap. You're not worth it.
Who's up next?
Dak Prescott.
That's what I thought. And if anyone's going to say no, maybe it's Jerry Jones. It's possible.
And this is where it gets interesting. And we'll bring this conversation back up later in the show because there's still more to it, in my opinion. But this is where it gets interesting with Dak up next. Because is Dak worth $55 million? Would Dak take less than $55 million when Jordan Love and Tua Tagovailoa are getting that now, right? Because Dak Prescott as valuable to his team as Jordan Love is to Green Bay? Is he as valuable to his team as Tua Tagovailoa is to Miami?
All right, your second example is a better one because the sample size for Jordan Love is not big enough, but Tua's been there a couple years and he's been really, really good and definitely more valuable because you saw what happened when he wasn't in there.
That's fair. Here's the thing. It does not matter the sample size of Jordan Love. What matters is the number next to his name.
Yeah, I was going to say, apparently it doesn't matter. You're right.
If you're Dak Prescott, the sample size of Jordan Love's irrelevant. The number next to his name is. So if he goes to Jera and says, I need $55.1 million a year to give it because I deserve it more than Jordan Love, is Jerry Jones the first owner that looks a quarterback in the face and says, absolutely not. Not like this. Texas says it's already happened, though the Giants told Daniel Jones no. Danny Dimes was dealing with like injuries and other stuff that played into this. Well, he had a walking boot on, but Dak's not.
Well, are you going to say that all those quarterbacks that got all that money are all that much better than Daniel Jones?
No. I will say, where would you put Daniel Jones on this list? Above Jordan Love?
Yeah, because of sample size. Again, I think that factors in.
Okay.
Yeah, he looked good in one season. We'll see what he does this year.
Then if Danny Dimes, if you put him above Jordan Love, Danny Dimes deserves $55.1 million a year. If you're the Giants, are you signing him to that contract based on what you've seen out of Danny Dimes so far? Because I got a hard time saying yes to that.
When TV contracts continue to go up and the money continues to flow, they're going to still get paid and going to get paid enormous amounts that make people go, okay, he doesn't deserve it. Why is he getting it?
You're not wrong.
He's getting it because of capitalism and because he gets it.
You're not wrong. But remember, the NFL's on the hook for like billions in this NFL Sunday ticket judgment. The cap's going to stay still, I think, for a year or two. All right. We don't know if he still got it. A guy I do know still got it is Lonzo with a sports flash.
You got it right over here.
You must have forgot.
The U.S. men's basketball team got off to a hot start in the Olympic Games with a 110-84 win over Nikola Jokic and Serbia. Kevin Durant went 8-9, including 5 threes en route to 23 points in 17 minutes in his first 5-on-5 game action since April, while LeBron James went 9-13 for 21 points. Team USA will play South Sudan on Wednesday, while the women's team will open Olympic play today at 3 p.m. against Japan. Spire Motorsports has confirmed that driver Corey LaJoie, friend of the show, will not return to the team after the season. LaJoie has spent 4 seasons with the team, tallying 4 top 5 and 6 top 10s in 129 races. Hey, tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel, just Diesel, get you up to date on everything Wire to Wire. I appreciate it, Stephen, but you know, it's not true. I don't deserve that.
Since 2007, Carolina Top Dressing has been transforming, smoothing, and nourishing lawns around upstate South Carolina. We are passionate about giving you the healthiest yard on the block, residential or commercial, with top dressing, aerating, and overseeding services. Trust Carolina Top Dressing with your curb appeal. CarolinaTopDressing.com.
Mad World Haunted Attraction is having the biggest ticket pre-sale of the year. All tickets will be 35% off for one day only on Friday, August 16th. Mad World is much more than just a haunted house. It's a fall tradition like no other. Enjoy mini golf, box throwing, carnival games, food, bonfire, rolling characters, and fun for the whole family. All tickets are valid for any day we are open for the season. Don't miss your chance to save big online at madworldattractions.com.
Golfers, spring is here, and there's no better way to get on the course than with the Upstate Golf Card. For just $80, you'll get access to premier upstate courses like the Preserve in Verde, Carolina Springs, Rear Golf, The Rock, Rolling Green, Wingso Tryon, and more. Grab your foursome and hit the course with the Upstate Golf Card. Order yours today at upstategolfcard.com. 7 rounds of golf for only $80. Get yours now while supplies last. upstategolfcard.com. That's upstategolfcard.com.
As school messes return, rest easy. Clorox has got your back to school.
Oh, no. I'm back. That messy science experiment. And I brought baking soda, cornstarch.
And you're due tomorrow, right? Well, at least I stocked up on Clorox disinfecting wipes. Because you're not messing up my kitchen counters like last time.
Ooh, smart. Got any food coloring?
Off to the store we go.
Stock up on Clorox disinfecting wipes that clean 3 times better. And your paper towels and kitchen pieces soap companies.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
Gotta change my oil.
How about Valvoline Restore and Protect? It restores and protects your engine to run like new.
It restores your engine to like factory clean?
And protects.
So Valvoline Restore and Protect restores and protects.
Now you can get 5 quarts with an STP extended life oil filter for $37.99. Restrictions apply.
Upstate. WORD Spartanburg.
QC in the first break.
You see in the first break.
Wow, Shannon Baszler doing a horrible tombstone pile driver. Did you see Patty the Batty's submission?
I did.
So,
Gnarly.
and he kept saying, why did he shoot on me? That's so.
Here we go. Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Radio Show goes now. Rob Brown, the Great Lonzo, with you back in the studio today. After spending last week live in Charlotte, North Carolina for ACC football kickoff, we are back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Should I throw something at you so I can prove that you're here?
I think people can just look.
Okay. All right. You could be in another room cleverly. You could do that background and you could be like at home right
I've thought about that before, right? Like take the screenshot, VR it back at the house. I'll never have to wear pants again.
Yeah, but you already did that before.
That's also true. I'm not going to lie to you people. When we were doing the pandemic cast and we were all working at home, the number of shows that I did with sans pants is pretty high. Take the over. All right. Take the over. Lot of pantsless programs. And I don't know if that's bad form or not, but I'm also relatively sure that if you're allowed to work from home, pants are unnecessary. Okay? If you get the shot to work remote, if you're on site, there's one requirement. Just if you're on a video call, make sure that you turn your camera off before you stand up. Like, that's it. That's it. That's the only obligation. There was a video circulating not terribly long ago of a guy that was interviewing for a job, like a big job, like a good job, interviewing for a job, and he was doing a video call, and his kid walked in the room, and he got up to go get his kid, kick his kid out of the room, but he forgot that he was wearing he was wearing a shirt and tie and suit blazer for the video meeting, but he forgot he was wearing just like basketball shorts. So he stood up, and there were 2 other people on the call. It was like 2 VPs that were interviewing for this big job. And he goes and sits back down, and there was a lady and a guy. And the lady was like, "Sir, did you forget that you were on the video call?" And you see the guy's face go white because he realized, like, oh, crap, I look unserious. I just stood up wearing basketball shorts with a suit top. And the other guy, the other dude on the call, like another high-ranking guy, he goes, "Hey, let's lay off him a little bit." And the lady just like looks into the camera like a Jim Halpert from The Office looking into the camera. And the other like VP of this big company pushes his chair back, stands up, and he's also wearing basketball shorts under his suit top. And he's like, "I'm not hiring this guy because of that." And I thought, that's the boss you want to work for, right? That's the guy you want to work for. Not just the guy that said, "I'm at home, pants are irrelevant," but the dude that put himself on blast for wearing basketball shorts with a suit tucked into it so that he defended you before you even got the job. That's the guy I'm going to war for.
You don't think basketball shorts are kind of annoying? The ones that come all the way down to your knees?
See, all right. When I was playing high school hoops, that was in the big shorts era, right? That was the big shorts era. And my junior year, which is the year my team went to the state championship in Florida, our coach every year allowed us to pick our own unis, right? We got to pick our own shoes, our own unis, and our own socks. He allowed us to pick. And the young cool dudes on the team, they decided we were joining the big shorts movement. And I hated them. Hated them so much. Now, that's not to say I need like the Larry Bird, Daisy Duke version, right? Like, I don't need to be thighs out for this, but I'm saying, give me my shorts cut right above the knee, right? Like, cut them above the knee. No, we had these things covered like down to the calf. They were I don't know why that ever became a thing.
Wow. All right.
One.
Already.
Yeah, rough.
It's a first full. Well, no, it's not a full week, but still, yeah. That would drive me. One thing we got to do is we were one of the first teams in the state at the time to have the tearaways for wrestling.
Yeah,
and you're standing in line. There used to be an intimidating face-off before wrestling, before the matches started, team across from team, and there's nothing like everybody just ripping them off like they're ready to go.
New Zealand hits you with the haka. Lonzo hits you with removing his pants very quickly.
No one had, and we were one of the first ones to do it in the state. Just saying.
I hated the big shorts. The big shorts were the absolute.
It sounds
worst.
like it would be detrimental to playing.
Yeah, I never got it. Like how? They're not good. Hey, it's 7:06 in the morning. You've got less than 54 minutes before you've got to clock in, lock in at the office, and I know the game plan. When you do, because you're not working from home, when you do, you're going to walk down the hallway. You're going to go grab Jill from Accounts Receivable. You and Jill are going to walk down the hallway. You're going to stand by the water cooler. You're going to talk sports. And if you're going to talk sports, you got to know what's going on. If you got to know what's going on, you need this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying, "Burn it down! Burn it down!" Your first bathroom break.
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
You probably don't want your coworkers to say that. Probably not.
I don't know. We've all had our days.
Okay.
All right. We've all had our days. Let's keep it a buck. We've all had our days. It is the water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories that you need to know before you get to the office and start talking sports this lovely upstate Monday morning. Let's jump right in with item number 1. Team USA basketball yesterday, 110-84 winners over Serbia. They get the big win over Nikola Jokic. Jokic put down 20. Bogdanovic had 14. But Jovic, only 5 off the bench for Nikola Jovic, not Jokic. On the flip side, Team USA had a day. LeBron James, 9 of 13 from the floor. He put up 21, also had 7 boards and 9 assists. But the day belonged to reserve player Kevin Durant. 23 points on 8 of 9. Cade opened up 8 of 8, including 5 of 5 from Trey to start this game. Ended up also having a couple of boards in this one as well. Just 1 turnover for Kevin Durant in this game overall. The Americans had 17 turnovers in the game, and that number has got to come down. But they also shot 62.3% from the floor and almost 57% from range in this contest. I'm going to say this. There was a big discussion. A discussion that was chimed in on by Serbia's head coach, that this is the most talented basketball roster ever assembled. The argument was that the 92 Dream Team was not as talented as this roster, but was more important and more influential than this roster. And I'm going to keep it a buck with you. I actually agree with that.
I heard that too, and I'm curious how many guys from the Dream Team are in the Hall of Fame or will be in the Hall of Fame, and how many players on this team will be, because I think there's more Hall of Famers on the original Dream Team.
There might be. LeBron's a Hall of Famer. Steph Curry is a Hall of Famer. Kevin Durant is a Hall of Famer. I'm going to go ahead and call the shot now. It's early in the young man's career. I think Anthony Edwards will be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, stay healthy.
If he stays healthy. I think that there's a fringe chance for Anthony Davis. I think there's a better than fringe chance for Joel Embiid, but he's going to have to do something. And the only other guy I think maybe has a fringe chance is Devin Booker. I think D-Book could be a Hall of Famer long term.
Whereas Dream Team, the only guy who isn't in the Hall of Fame or won't be is Christian Laettner, probably.
Let's see. David Robinson, yes. Patrick Ewing, yes. Larry Bird, yes. Scottie Pippen, yes. Michael Jordan, yes. Clyde the Glide, yes. The Mailman, yes. John Stockton, yes. Chris Mullin, Hall of Famer.
May already be in there.
I don't know off the top of my head, to be honest. Charles Barkley, yes. Magic Johnson, yes. I won't disagree. But if I put these two teams head to head, the only reason the 92 Dream Team would, I think, win is that they don't care if they die if they win, right? That dog mentality. And I did hear a guy yesterday on one of the shows I was listening to say the NBA mentality, because it was Joel Embiid was talking about how there are other teams in these Olympics that, you know, their talent level is very close to us and they deserve respect and admiration and this, that, and the other. And this dude was like, where's my guy that says, yo, them, I'm here to kill them?
By the way, I just looked it up. The only guy who's not in the Hall of Fame, Christian Laettner.
Yeah. I think you're getting that attitude out of LeBron. So you watch this game as well as I. There's something in the eye of LeBron James right now. Like there's a mentality in LeBron James right now that gives me 92 Michael Jordan vibes.
Well, we said before this even started, he wants to win that gold.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and I think Cade does too. Like Kevin Durant yesterday had something. He had a little something going as well. So 110-84, Team USA over Serbia. They are 1-0.
You need to point out that Kevin Durant had to come in for a spark because they were down like 10-2, and it was looking like what it is. The fact that the other team, and they're going to encounter this a lot, and it was mentioned by KD after the game, these other teams have been playing together, so they have chemistry and they have all that. And this team, the U.S. team,
like 2.5 weeks now.
Yeah, the U.S. team has to develop it as they go.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. And I would, on top of that, I would also say, not only are, and I know this is a sports cliche, you're getting at Team USA is getting everybody's best shot. Everybody.
True. But I mean, basically we've got an all-star team out there, and usually when an all-star team gets together, they're not that serious. So they have to find that seriousness. And I guess LeBron is that guy to make them serious.
I got to tell you, dude, I like watching this guy go. I like watching this guy go in the Olympics. LeBron James right now looks like a guy, and it's been fun to watch. So the Americans 1-0 in shooty hoops. Their next game will be against South Sudan coming up on Wednesday. South Sudan, by the way, knocked off Puerto Rico in one of the biggest Olympic upsets so far, South Sudan. That's the same South Sudanese team that we beat by 1 a week and a half ago. We beat them by 1. They just knocked off Jose Alvarado and Puerto Rico. So Team USA better have eye on the ball when they get up against South Sudan. Let's go to item number 2. We have got the Major League Baseball trade deadline underway as we know it. The trade deadline is tomorrow. We have seen some big-time moves that have taken place already. Some of the most recent ones, the Chicago Cubs have grabbed Isaac Paredes from the Tampa Bay Rays in return for third baseman Chris Morel and a couple of prospects. Paredes is going to come over and be an addition in the lineup that the Cubbies were hoping Morel was going to turn into. Morel had a very good initial season with Chicago, but he hasn't lived back up to that ever since then. Career-wise, the numbers are very similar. Paredes is a 234 career hitter. Morel's a 228 career hitter. The difference is that while Morel has shown improvement in the plate discipline, he's been an average defender, and he has just kind of been hovering around that mark so far, whereas Paredes has shown much more contact ability, a lot more plate discipline. and is a much better defender. So the Cubs have said, YOLO, we're going for it. The Padres have picked up Jayson, a right-handed pitcher in return from Tampa Bay for Dylan Lesko and a couple of prospects as well. That is a big pickup for A.J. Preller and the San Diego Padres, who have traded away 9 of their last 10 first-round draft pickups so far. I do like that pickup. Also, it shows that the Rays have decided that they're going to hang out and ultimately lean into building for the future, not try to get anything going this year. The Mets have picked up outfielder Jesse Winker from the Nationals in return for right-handed pitcher Tyler Stewart. Winker going to be able to probably line into the DH role for the Mets that, if I had to guess, would also see Brandon Nimmo move into a permanent outfield location. We'll find out. But remember, the Mets just a game and a half out now from the Atlanta Braves in the NL East, and they've decided to go all in. Will the Braves make a move today or tomorrow? We're going to talk with Abe Gordon of 92.9 The Game in Atlanta coming up in the next hour of the show, and we'll see if he's got any thoughts on the Braves making a trade deadline move. It does appear, from what I'm hearing, the Braves aren't going to do anything. But then yesterday, Reynaldo Lopez, one of the few all-stars for Atlanta, was sent to the bench with forearm tightness, and if that ends up being a problem, the Braves have a problem. We'll talk about that. There were some other moves that have been made. Jazz Chisholm gets sent from Miami up to the Yankees. They have added another stellar outfielder. Where's the room for him in the lineup? To be honest with you, I got no damn clue. We'll find out. And what was the other? Zach Eflin gets traded from Tampa up to Baltimore, where he will fit into the lineup. Baltimore has got a ton of young position players, but they have been struggling off the bump. They go get Eflin out of Tampa Bay to try to boost that. We'll talk more MLB trade deadline later in the show, as the deadline is indeed tomorrow. I love you tomorrow. Let's go to item number 3. We've already talked one Olympics story with Team USA basketball, but let's take a look at the overall medal count so far. The Americans have picked up another gold medal. 12 total medals, 3 of them gold, 6 silver, and 3 bronze so far. The gold medals belong to Jack Alexey, Chris Giuliano, Hunter Armstrong, and Caleb Dressel in the men's 4x100-meter freestyle relay. The women's 100-meter butterfly, Tori Husk took home the gold for the Americans, and Lee Kiefer won women's individual foil fencing in the gold medal bout. Those are your golds so far. As we mentioned, we do also have 6 silvers and 3 bronze. Right? I actually didn't get to watch.
She went like this. She went behind. Oh, you got
like a lightsaber move?
Hit her
with the Obi-Wan Kenobi?
No, she went around her neck, and that point came this way and struck home. And that's how she
very
won.
Sith Lord is what that is.
It was pretty sweet.
That is dope. I'm gonna have to go back and watch. I obviously, like this weekend, we were down in St. Augustine, so I was a little bit behind with our Olympics coverage and watching ability. So I was watching kind of the highlight stuff and most everything going on in the morning. Obviously, right now, Team USA women's field hockey taking on España. It is 0-0 with, I don't know how long quarters or halves are.
Dude, it's hockey. It's hockey and soccer combined.
Right. How quarters, periods, 3, 4, 2 halves.
Yes.
Right. Exactly. But don't you worry. Within the next hour and a half, Lonzo and I are going to be the best field hockey analyst in the history. Why? Because we know what I assume is ball. I mean, I know they play with the ball, but like there's a name for it, right?
Yeah, there's
a name for it.
I think it's a ball.
We did this with lacrosse once, and we learned they call it the pearl. Do we call it the pearl in field hockey too? I don't know is the answer. All right. There it is. USA right now, overall, 12 medals so far. We lead the 2024 medal count over China with 9, France with 8, and South Korea and Japan both with 7. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
PC.
All right, guys, quick live, and we're coming back. Do me a favor. Stay right there, please, and thank you. right, we're back, dudes and dudettes. Thanks for hanging in there. If the women's team can figure out the center of the field into defensive wingers, they will walk away with the gold as the striker positions are unlocked right now. Smith, Swanson, and Robin are fire. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. I listened to that game yesterday. I didn't get to watch it, but I listened to it. And you are correct. They're kind of the opposite problem as the men. Like the men are able to pass it through the middle. They just don't have anybody that's been able to consistently finish. The women have plenty of finishers, but the required creativity to get it into that spot isn't there right now. But a 4-1 win over Germany, like there's no way to be unhappy about that, right? You know what, Zoe? Let's play that Dabo Swinney interview here. I know I didn't tease it, but
one thing I did notice that the women are more physical than the men are.
oh, for sure.
New life next break.
10-4. So last week was ACC Media Days. Last week, after Thursday's show, had the opportunity to sit down with the head coach of the Clemson Tigers, Dabo Swinney. Got to spend about 7 minutes with Dabo and talk some Clemson football with him. Here is last week's interview from Thursday. We were off on Friday with Clemson head coach Dabo Swinney. The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Joined now on the show by the head coach of the Clemson Tigers, Coach Dabo Swinney, live at ACC Media Days. Coach, how we feeling, man? Enjoying the car wash so far?
Yeah, it's been great. How you doing?
Doing real good. Doing real good. They give me money to come here and talk about football. It's a pretty good life. You know what I mean?
I love it.
Dabo Swinney joining us here on the show. All right, I do have to jump into the serious stuff. I just asked Barrett, I've asked Cade, how do you keep the boys from killing each other when they're playing college football on the PlayStation? Because it got heated a second ago, Coach.
I don't know, but they're having a lot of fun with all that. That's for sure. Been a lot of talk about it.
I dig it. I like it. All right, let's talk about your boy Cade Klubnik, because he brought up the word comfort and being comfortable in the offense. Last week at the open house, Coach Riley said the same thing. It's about comfort and being comfortable in that offense. Can you talk to me a little bit about the development of Cade Klubnik and his comfort level in this offense heading into the season?
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, I think, as a first-year starter, he did some good things and certainly some not-so-good things, but I loved how he finished, and that confidence and momentum has really served him well. He's physically developed. He's a solid 205 now. He showed up at Clemson at 175. So I'm proud of that. But, again, he's got a chance to learn from as a first-year starter. Now he's got a chance to apply all the lessons that came from that. And he's in the same system for the first time, and the same coach. So I think all of those things will serve him well. I love how he's led. He's really, found his voice. He's been a tremendous leader for us. So we just need him. We don't need him to save the world. We just need him to take the next step. There's been a lot of first-year quarterbacks that if you gave up on them, you missed out on some of the best in the world. So, I'm really proud. And the great ones get better. And we've seen him get better. Now he's got to go do it on the field. And I think that's what you're going to see with number 2.
What are we going to see out of him this year? I mean, obviously it's we've heard the offense described as a dirt raid. It wants to be balanced. Phil Moff is going to be a dude this year for you guys, I think, but it's still going to revolve around making sure you've got a quarterback in the comfort. So if I asked you the goals for Cade Klubnik as a player this year, what would you say they are?
Well, number one is, minimize the negative plays. He had too many negative plays last year as a first-year starter. And what I mean by that, he had too many fumbles, just ball exchange, those type of things. He had too many TFLs and too many sacks on him where, as a result of him just trying to do too much, and so, what we want to see and what you're going to see is growth and maturity of just a little better pocket presence, which will cut down on those negative plays, the game slowing down, and now all of a sudden he's not trying to do too much, just play within the system. Like to see him, as you saw how he finished the season, use his legs, in a little more timely manner, because he can do that. Certainly there's some things that you call, but also, creating things with his legs, or just going and getting those 6 yards and let's get a new set of downs, with his legs. So those are things that I think you'll see out of him, and just a bigger, stronger version of himself.
One of the interesting things I've listened to you talk about, he's had too many sacks, too many TFLs, et cetera. How do you talk to a guy like Cade, especially when you're trying to grow him into that second-year guy, and say those things, but also continue to build that confidence in him, because it seems like an interesting dichotomy as a coach that you've got to navigate.
Yeah, well, this is part of your off season. I mean, every coach, when you get done, you go through your season and you do your quality control and you look at all the good, the bad, the ugly, and you look at your disaster report and you say, okay, what are disasters? Well, that's sacks, TFLs, turnovers, negative penalties on our offensive side. So you go through that and then you say, okay, what happened? Why? Why was it a sack? Okay, well, that was on the OL. And why was that? How do we fix that? Okay, well, this is on the quarterback. Again, it's holding on the ball too long, trying to do too much, whatever. Or if it's a TFL, okay, it's fundamental. I should have given it, instead of keeping it. And again, that goes back sometimes trying to do too much, playing within the system, and then just, ball exchange. That's just basic fundamental stuff. So you just re-emphasize those things. So when it's good, a competitor wants to see that stuff. And, and it's not that he hadn't already seen it, but when you see it in totality at the end of a season, then you go apply that. And that's how you plan your course ahead on what you want to do that spring, that off season, that summer to get better. And so you don't run from that stuff. You run to that stuff so that you can improve. That's just part of the maturation process for every player. No different than all the way back when I was playing. You try to you look at what you did good, what you did bad. How do I get better? And what was my weakness? How do I attack that? How do I improve that? And then for him too, just ownership of the system, really ownership of the protections, and that comes the more you're in a system. And we've certainly seen that from him, and I'm excited to see him take it to the field this fall.
Dabo Swinney, head coach of the Clemson Tigers, here on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. I've asked Clemson fans in Greenville, South Carolina, answer this question, Coach. I'm going to open the floor to you to do the same thing. We will define the Clemson football season as a success if
we finish the way we're capable of finishing. We got to win the close games. When we've been elite, we've won the close games. We've been really good in big play margin, meaning we've had more big plays than the opponent, and we've been great in red zone scoring on offense and defense. So that's all about finishing to me. So we got to finish. Just in the past 3 years, we've won more games than 126 of the 134 teams in college football. But what's kept us out of the Final Four is not winning those close games. You go all the way back to 21. We lost it on a pick six, one play to Georgia. We lost in a double overtime. Otherwise you're 11-1. You go to 22. We win the league, but we lost by 1 point at home. Fumble, punt return, fumble, kick return. We didn't finish with a lead in the fourth quarter, and we're really good at that close game. And then you go last year, we lose in overtime. We lose in double overtime. We lose on a pick six up in Raleigh, one play. We had 3 fumbles on the one throughout the season going in to score. We didn't finish. So, we were a tough defense, and people didn't get to the red zone often, but when they did, they had too many touchdowns. We were 15th in the country in first downs. We could move the ball, but we were awful in finishing in the red zone. So, answer your question, we got to finish.
Dabo Swinney, head coach of the Clemson Tigers, here on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Coach, appreciate it. Good luck this season. You got it. Dabo Swinney here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
So there was our talk with the head coach of the Clemson Tigers, Dabo Swinney. And I will say this, and I get it, right? This is something I've done for a very long time, as I have covered sports, I have covered politics, I have covered, you name it, I've covered it in one variety or style or another. One of the things that happens when you are, especially when you are covering one entity for long enough, is you start to hear them repeat things, right? You start to hear the little catchphrases or the little repetition of different phrases or words or answers or whatever. And it checks out. I had hoped that by asking Dabo, Clemson will be successful, or we will call it a successful season if blank. I was hoping he was going to give me like, if we make the playoffs, or if we have a 99% graduation rate, or if we, make it to the second round or whatever. And what he gave me is, if we finish like we're supposed to, and then you heard all those numbers that he threw out there. That's about the fourth time in the last week and a half that I've heard that exact number, those exact numbers in that exact order.
There's a follow-up question. I didn't expect you to ask it, but I would have said how many of those are Cade Klubnik's fault? Obviously, we know that a good portion of them are. And what has he done to get better this year? So he doesn't do that again.
And I think it's fair. Now, obviously, I have 7 minutes with the guy, right? So you're kind of limited in what you can do. And just so you know, I've spoken with Justin Ross about getting Dabo on the show for a longer interview down the line. But I will tell you this. One thing I did find very interesting. He didn't have any problem, great one, saying a lot of what happened last year was on Cade. A lot of TFLs, a lot of fumbles, a lot of bad handoffs, a lot of bad reads, a lot of bad this, a lot of bad that. There was a lot last year that was on Cade Klubnik, and that's directly from Dabo, which is why I asked him, how do you communicate that to a young player and not destroy the confidence? And he said that's just kind of part of coaching, right? Nothing compelling, nothing groundbreaking, but I thought it was interesting. All right, we'll talk more about that. And coming up later on in the radio program, I also got the opportunity to talk to Don Munson, the voice of the Clemson Tigers, on Thursday. We'll have his interview and Cade Klubnik, the starting quarterback himself, all coming up throughout the remainder of the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
All
right, guys, one more live and we're back. Stay right there for me, please, and thank you.
text Chris or email Chris because our weather widget is not communicating. There's that's what they call it. There's a button over here, the weather, and it's not communicating with the proxy. If you don't communicate with the proxy, then we don't get updates. And you mentioned weather, and my ears are like really bothering me right now. So pressure. What measures humidity? Is it a barometer? Well, whatever it is, I am a human barometer.
The Rob Brown Show continues. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob Alonzo and you coming up in the next hour of the show. I'll replay our interview we conducted last Thursday with Don Munson. Got a little more time with Don than we did Cade and Dabo. We will also replay the interview we did with Cade Klubnik coming up later in the show as well. So make sure you stick around for that as the show progresses this Upstate Monday morning. Rob Alonzo with you with a quick update right now as Team USA Women's Field Hockey is on the pitch against España. That is Spain. Spain has just knocked one through to draw level with the United States as we make our way through the second portion of play.
By the way,
at a 1-1 scoreline.
4 quarters. There's a halftime. Maybe not so in Olympic play. Not sure about that. And the ball is called a hockey ball.
Hockey ball. All right. So the ladies out here knocking the hockey ball around a little bit and currently in a 1-1 knotted scoreline along with España. So we'll update you on that as I know you are all awaiting the result of this match with bated breath. I am. Not a joke.
It sounded like sarcasm there. I see USA on there, so they need to win.
You can strap the stars and stripes onto the sleeve of a Tiddlywinks team, and suddenly your boy is jazzed about it, man. Like, I love every bit of it. Coming up in the next hour, I actually do want to do this. I was thinking about this yesterday on the drive-in. I was going through and talking with our buddy Abe Gordon, who's going to join us in about 40 minutes from right now to talk Braves ball as we get set for the trade deadline tomorrow, with so far no indication that the Braves are going to make any moves at all. I was talking with him. He said, I'm a big track and field guy. Big track and field guy. Track and field matters a lot to me. I said, I'm not judging you for that. We went back and forth about some of the sports we like and don't like. I said, my hottest Olympic take is that I don't care about the wrestling. I don't care. I prefer fake wrestling to real wrestling. All right. I don't care about it. It does nothing for me.
Yeah, you annoy me with that.
Yeah, I know. It's my hottest take. And you're not the only one. Abe Gordon, I thought Abe was going to text me a fist to the nose. If Abe could have figured out how to send a punch through a text message, he was going to do it as well. Right?
By the way, Olympic wrestling is amazing. It's one of the original sports of the Olympics. They eliminated it for a while, which was like stupid. But they brought it back, and I'm really looking forward to Olympic wrestling.
It does nothing for me, all right?
But you're okay with Olympic boxing?
Big fan.
Why? So what's the difference?
Because I like boxing and I don't like wrestling. Okay. That's literally the difference.
All right. Except for professional wrestling, which we love.
Love pro wrestling.
Yeah. And
Orange Cassidy tomorrow on the show.
Just in case Orange Cassidy is listening. Yes.
24 and a half hours from right now, Orange Cassidy will be in studio. I love pro wrestling. I don't like amateur wrestling. All right. I'm sorry. I've tried it. I've got friends who love it. Lonzo's one of them. I've done my best. It's up there with lacrosse as a sport I've tried and can't get into. And maybe because I didn't grow up around it. I don't know.
All right, I just want to point this out. Not a soccer guy. You guys know I'm not. And I watch men's and women's soccer. because
I'm very proud of you.
because I knew Rob would be talking about it.
Yes, he is.
Here's the thing. I think Rob should watch some wrestling. I'm willing to watch the sports you're into in the Olympics. Maybe you watch some of mine.
For the record, I will watch all of them. What I'm saying is, if it's not on TV, it's not the sport that I'm gonna raise hell about.
This morning, I was watching table tennis with French LeBron.
Oh, listen, I'll watch
You know about French LeBron, right?
I do.
Yeah,
I do. I will watch every. Did you see the U.S. table tennis team? Edwards was talking smack about ping pong, and so they challenged him to a match. And Steph talked Ant-Man into taking the challenge. I can't wait. He's gonna get wrecked, man. Wrecked. It's gonna be great. Anyway, coming up in the next hour of the show, I do want to ask you, Zoe, and I want you to put the thinking cap on for this one. I'm putting you in charge of the Olympics. Give me an Olympic sport or sports you want added moving forward. Like, I'm going to get anything you want. What Olympic sport would you add to the mix if you had full-fledged power to do so? I got a couple I want to throw at you and see if there's any of you that are going to jump for it. And what brought this up, and I'm glad Keegan brought it up in the stream chat. We are streaming live at facebook.com/thefanupstate, on YouTube by searching to The Rob Brown Show or The Fan Upstate, and on Twitch by joining The Rob Brown Show Twitch channel. Breakdancing is in the Olympics this year. And yes, I will be watching breakdancing as if I have been watching breakdancing my entire life. I'm all in. But if we're going to add breakdancing to the Olympics,
I'm going to be judging breakdancing with an old school eye because, it started back when I was in high school. So got to see some of the original stuff. So they got to be better than what it was back in the day.
Yeah, I mean,
because the sport should improve as it goes if you consider it a sport.
I have no doubt it has and it will. I'm all in on breakdancing.
I don't know. I'm a little skeptical.
But as I was driving home listening to a cat ask all these questions about breakdancing yesterday, my immediate thought was, all right, if we've added breakdancing, there's room for some other sports, right? Like if we're adding breakdancing, there's room for some other sports I want to put in there. So I'll tell you what those are coming in the next hour, and we'll see how you feel. Let's go back to this Dabo Swinney thing here for just a minute. So was there anything in that interview that jumped off the page at you? Because I got to tell you, and I will acknowledge as an interviewer, I didn't really go out of my way to get anything extra out of Dabo. Because like I said, we have 7 minutes with the athletes and the coaches. You get 7 minutes, right? And let me tell you how it works.
And other stations will spend a lot of time. Hey, Dabo, how you doing?
Yeah, pretty much. I had to jump in. So we got 7 minutes with this cat. And the way it worked, Zoe, is he sits at the table. He puts on the headset. His handler points at you. You're on the clock. That's it. Go.
Is this the only team that does that?
No.
Okay.
It's like this for every coach, every player, every team at Media Day. You have 7 minutes.
All right, because I have been to Media Day, and I don't remember that happening then. So it sounds like a recent thing.
It has happened every year that I have been there, with the exception that the last couple of years it was 8 minutes. This year it was 7. You got 7 minutes. He sits at the table, put on the headset, and the handler for that player or coach points at you, and you are on the clock. You have 7 minutes. And when they get to the end of that 7 minutes, at 6 minutes, they give you the 1 minute sign. And at the end of that 1 minute, they will, if the player or coach is talking, they will let them finish that point. But the second they're done, they're done. It went like this. When we got to that, and you can hear him take off the headset. When Dabo was finished with the last answer, his handler grabbed him on the shoulder and pulled on him. Dabo took off the headset. He gave me like the 2-finger, like, appreciate you. And he was gone. He was gone before I finished farewelling him. He didn't hear me say good luck this season or anything like that. He was gone. And we were on to the next one. So it is, I will acknowledge, kind of tough to like dive into stuff, to go deeper than kind of surface level, top to bottom, left to right with these cats. So I don't think I heard of anyone who did any of the interviews with Cade or Dabo or Barrett or any of the guys that were there. I don't think I heard a like compelling answer. The only compelling thing I got from any of them was when I asked Cade Klubnik, who's the best player.
Wait. Why would you give that away when you're going to play the interview?
Oh, because you're going to hear his answer. I'm not going to tell you what the answer
Okay,
is.
all right. Fine. All right,
But I asked Cade Klubnik, who's the best EA Sports College Football 2025 player on the team? And one of the other guys was standing there next to him, and they got after each other on the air for a minute. And I'm going to play you that Cade Klubnik interview later. But the point here is, it's tough to really get anything compelling out of these dudes. What jumped off the page at me, and I will acknowledge that, again, this is partially my fault, but there was also not much I could have done about it, is everything Dabo said, I've heard him say before. I heard him say it at the open house a couple of weeks ago. I heard him say it when he was on the podium for his State of the School presser at ACC Media Days. I heard him say it on other stations he was doing interviews with. Here is one thing I am going to say, and this is what jumped. This is the arrival that I got to. The arrival that I ended at is this. Dabo and Clemson, they are shut off from the outside world. Okay? They're shut off. And I say that because sitting to my left and sitting to my right, sitting to my left and to my right were the two Clemson outfits. Lawton Swan and Clemson Sports Radio were to my left, and the other station in town were to my right. And full disclosure, I like those guys. We're buds. We high five. What's up, bro? How you been? It's all good. But we are competitors, and we know it, right? It's like pro wrestlers, man. You shake hand before the bout. You shake hand after the bout. Between the bell, you give it all you got to win. So I listened to their interviews with Dabo Swinney, and they got the same answers that I did. Like carbon copy. Exact same. By the way, I used the term carbon copy the other day, and I had...
So old, dude.
I know. And I had a kid go, "Oh, what now?" I was like, "Carbon, carbon copy. You sign the thing, and then you lift up the sheet, and then there's a car, and then they're like, what's that?" And I'm like, Control C, Control V.
That brings up a great question. What is the equivalent in today's lingo?
I think it's Control C, Control V, right?
No, I mean, I get it, but that sounds like a lot of effort.
Copy paste, I think, is what it is. It's just copy paste.
That probably would work.
So it was the exact same answers. And I'm talking the same numbers, the same order they were presented in, the same verbiage and wordage.
Isn't it your job, though, to come up with a question where there's no way you can answer it that way?
So here's the last question that I asked him was, hey, we have asked Clemson fans in the upstate to define what success is for Clemson this year. Clemson will be successful if what? Because I was hoping he would give us if we make the playoffs. But the reality is he's not going to do that. Because if Dabo or anybody else says success is making the playoffs, success is winning a playoff game, success is making the ACC title game, winning the ACC title game. If he defines success, though, then what happens at the end of the year? If they don't meet it, guys like me go, hey, you said the goal for success was blank, and you didn't do that. By your own verbiage, you have failed, right? By your own measuring stick, you have failed. So what I have taken out of our interview with Dabo, out of the interviews that I heard Dabo give to Clemson guys that were covering this event, what I heard out of all of this was one thing. Dabo and Clemson are not going to talk to us. They're just not. They're going to give us their copy-paste, robotic, routine answer, and they are going to do so, I think, so that they don't end up accidentally defining success. Because if they accidentally define success, if they accidentally define success and then they do not attain that, the fire heats up next year.
So you would have, as well as the audience, preferred that we actually got some interviews from Florida State because it would have been different than that.
Doesn't matter. I'm not going to what about this conversation, right? Mike Norvell and the Knowles said no Clemson stations. We're not talking to anybody from Clemson's footprint. And okay, fine. I think that's cowardly. I think that's cheap. I think I kind of feel dirty having defended Florida State for as long as I did, if that's the way they're going to handle it the next year. But I also, if we're being a buck, honestly understand it, not because of football, but because of the lawsuit distraction stuff, right? But I don't care about Florida State in this conversation. I care about Clemson. And here's what I'm saying. It is now more important than ever before, Clemson fans, that you define success, because your coach and your football team aren't going to. They're not going to tell you what their definition is. They're just not. I'll tell you what success is. Lonzo reading the Sports Flash.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Flawlessly, by the way. Oh, no!
That counts. NFL quarterbacks are getting paid as camps open around the league. The Miami Dolphins have signed Tua Tagovailoa to a 4-year, $0.4 million extension. I already screwed up, so I'm not the best. After he led the league in passing yards and a career-high 29 touchdowns last year, Packers quarterback Jordan Love became one of the highest-paid players in the league after inking a 4-year, $220 million extension that included a $75 million signing bonus. You don't have to win. You just have to be a quarterback, apparently. Spire Motorsports has confirmed that driver Corey LaJoie will not return to the team after the season. LaJoie has spent 4 seasons with the team, tallying 4 top 5 and 6 top 10s in 129 races. Make sure you tune in this afternoon, 3 to 7 p.m. for a brand new local show, Wire to Wire, that gets you up on the latest local and national sports. Great news, great guests, and a whole lot of fun. All Wire to Wire.
You almost Alonzo on the sprint, son.
Hard to do in these slides. I normally don't like to do that at this point, but last break was really short. I'm sure he's the inspiration, Steven. And she's not the only one and not the only sport that got caught doing that. I heard somebody else over the weekend got caught doing that. I think the real question is how many teams have successfully done it before
That's the fun thing
this
about
happened.
cheating is you never know who's done it unless they get caught.
Right.
Hi, Chris.
Hi there.
How's it going?
Pretty good.
Good. Bill Belichick.
We weren't really
And the
talking.
Canadian soccer team who was
Again?
no, we're making a joke. The Canadian soccer team who was flying a drone over the practices of their opponents and won the Olympic gold medal last time around. who just got penalized 6 points in the Olympics for doing that going into this one. You can only earn 9 points in the group stage if you win all 3 games. Usually you got to have about 5 to move on. I'm bad at math. It means the max they can earn is 3 points, which means they need a lot. It's dramatic. Oh, I'm real bad at math. If you keep the numbers under 10, I have a chance. I started realizing.
Let me speak for Chris when I say we're both proud of you. Way to go.
Well, I can do it to 20 today because I wore flip-flops. I started getting bad at math when they started putting letters in it. That was when I dropped out.
Daggum algebra.
I think I'm just going to do jobs that are words jobs. So all my jobs are words jobs.
So more letters
More
rather
letters.
than fewer.
Yeah, but no numbers.
Well,
It's not the letters that
I wish my job didn't require math.
Is that baseball is a game of numbers.
It is. It is. It makes it very difficult. But see, like the numbers, nobody's ever been like, if player A has a batting average of 234, and player B has a batting average of 273, and the pitcher has this ERA, and what, nobody's ever done that. This is his batting average, and that's just what it is. I don't have to calculate bleep. It's not the numbers. It's when you start combining.
What foreign language were you just speaking?
Baseball. I was speaking the foreign language of baseball. Hey, thanks for coming by.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, nope, got it. Got it.
Oh, wait.
We're back in the
Good
studio.
morning.
And yes, that counted because you won't stop playing the clip.
Oh, wow. You actually heard me
Yeah,
say
I did.
that. Yeah, so your headphones aren't as noise canceling as you say they are.
They are. Just have them turned down because I'm very loud.
Really?
I've been told.
Are you serious?
I've been told. Not by ACC Karen this
I was
year.
going to say, man, you didn't get ACC Karen at all. I'm very disappointed.
So am I. Didn't even see her. I don't know if she was there, to be honest with you, because I walked up by the TV set a couple of times. Walked up there for the breakout interviews and whatnot, and didn't get a whole lot. Didn't get a whole lot. So had some fun with that. Was enjoying ACC Media Days last week up in Charlotte, North Carolina. Had a wonderful time. And we are going to talk a little bit more about that later. I will tell you that coming up in the next segment of the show. Abe Gordon from 92.9 The Game in the ATL is going to join us on the show to talk a little Braves ball as the trade deadline is tomorrow. I love you tomorrow. So we got that coming up for you here in just a little while. After that interview with Abe Gordon, we'll check back in with Don Munson, the voice of the Clemson Tigers, who we got to talk to last Thursday. We'll get Don's perspective on what this football program should look like coming into this year. And then in the final hour of the show, you will hear from Cade Klubnik, the starting quarterback for this year's Clemson Tigers. All of that coming up throughout the duration of the show. But before we get to any of that, we were talking Olympics a little while ago because, as Lonzo and I have both pointed out, big fans. Once every 4 years, Rob Brown becomes a handball fiend. All right? Loves some handball. Every 4 years, Rob Brown becomes a swimming and diving connoisseur. Once every 4 years, Rob Brown becomes an expert on badminton. Big fan of the Olympics. You slap the U.S. flag onto international play, and there's not a sport I won't go full in on. But, as Lonzo pointed out not terribly long ago, we have some that have been taken off the list. We have been added on to the list. Breakdancing will kick off on August 8th. A little over a week, we'll have the Olympic breakdancing competition. Next Olympics, 2028, flag football will be added to the Olympic sports roster. We've already had Joey Burrow say he wants to go along with Jamar Chase and a couple of other guys to go win gold for the Americans. I'm all in. Let's do the damn thing. Send Joey and Manette. Lonzo, I'm putting you in charge of the 2028 Summer Olympics. The 2028 Olympics are at your disposal They will be taking place right here in these United States of America, based around Los Angeles, California. Zoe, I will allow you to add up to 3 Olympic events. What sports are you adding to the Summer Olympic Games rotation?
All right. I have my 3.
Okay.
Baseball, softball, mixed martial arts.
Mixed martial arts.
Because we got judo and karate and all that stuff, I think, still in the Olympics, but there is no mixed martial arts.
I'm going to open up a spot for you, as baseball is being added back in 2028.
Okay.
Not only is it
what about
being
softball?
added back,
If they added
I believe softball is back as well. And what's interesting about baseball is there's a conversation going on right now with Major League Baseball, great one, where Rob Manfred is apparently in consideration of allowing Major League Baseballs to play. So Major League Baseball would take a 2-week Olympic break, and the MLB players could go back to represent their home country in the Olympics for the baseball tournament. Yes, please, and thank you.
All right. So you gave me a slot.
Yep, I'll open up a slot for you.
Bowling.
So you are going MMA, bowling, and what was your third one?
See, it was baseball and softball, but you're saying they're back.
Yeah, I'll give you. You want one more?
Yeah. Well,
or are you good with the 2?
Let me think of another.
Okay. Let me give you the ones I'd like to add. There's a couple I'd like to add. Number 1, you know what I'd like to see added, Zoe? I'd like to see paintball added to the Summer Olympics. I'd like to see paintball. And I'd like to see paintball I think paintball would be fundamentally entertaining. And I think it would be entertaining because who are we sending in paintball? Who are we teaching to play paintball to go represent the United States in the paintball Summer Olympic Games? We are sending like the baddest dudes from the U.S. Special Forces, right? But so's everybody else. Think about what that turns into. It effectively turns into a fun battle between everybody's best military members.
Yeah, but
tell me that wouldn't be incredible to watch.
I think we should also be allowed to send a ringer, and I'm sending Jesse to Body Ventura.
I'm sending like 5 of the most badass USSF guys that we come up with. I'm taking this very seriously.
I don't think they'd be allowed to go. So they would have to be ex. They couldn't be current.
I don't know, man.
I hate to be realistic and add realism.
Yeah, don't do that.
I'm sorry.
Nobody wants that.
I mean,
even if you sent ex guys,
because those guys, people don't need to know who they are.
Even if you sent ex special forces, guys that are just out, right? Guys that retired in the last year.
Yeah.
I'm going to find, because there are pro paintball leagues. I'm going to find one of these leagues. I'm taking them and I'm saying, hey, paintball dorks. And I say this as somebody who used to play paintball. Love it. Love it. Would love to get back into it. In fact, at one point, years ago, Zoe and I challenged the then old show in the afternoons to a paintball contest, and they would not respond to our challenge at all. I'll still do it, by the way.
I put on a lot of weight. I'm really, so you just want me as a meat shield. And, I get that. As long as you win, as long as we win, I guess I'll take a few.
Tell you what I think happens. What I think happens there is it ends up being you and Diesel playing winger for me and Cole getting after it. Because you got Cole, grew up in the woods, deer hunter extraordinaire out there.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, Mark Ryan was not going to be any good at this.
Right.
But Cole will be good.
Cole would be good.
Yes.
Because Cole's a hunter. Cole would be hunting me like the Predator. On the flip side, I played paintball for like 3 years. I was a tactics guy when I played paintball. I'm going to know where you're going to go and what you're going to do before you know where you're going to go and what you're going to do guy. And I get back into that.
Let's face it, our legal wouldn't allow that. They probably wouldn't even allow us to play laser tag.
I don't know.
But still.
I think they would.
I don't think they would.
But we'll see.
I
might bring it back up.
It's ask forgiveness, I guess.
But I'm going to add paintball to the rotation. I'll give you another one I would like to add to the rotation. Auto sports, racing. Now, we're going to have a fight over this.
Because you'd have to go open wheel.
You probably have to do like F1 modified, GT, open wheel. But I'm not against adding multiple styles, right? Like we could do, and it could be 3 races of each style, right? Could you go, we have a stock car race on opening ceremony day, halfway through, and the final day. We have a what do they call off-road rally, right? Like the crazy SOBs that go flying through the woods at 200 miles an hour.
I think they have that in X Games.
I did too.
I think it's Rally X.
Give it to me in the Olympics. Send every country's best at rally. Send every country's best at open wheel. Granted, it would just be Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton kicking everybody's ass over and over. But like, who knows? Let's see. Let's add motorsports to the Olympics.
So I'm okay with that as long as the same driver has to drive in all the different sports.
No, let's add low. Let's get the best of the best in everything.
Well,
let's send the best stock car racers, the best rally racers, and the best open wheel racers.
Sounds expensive.
It's the Olympics. It costs billions.
Yeah, but it sounds expensive because you're going to have to bring all the different crews over there.
Well, think about it this way. All right, so I will even go one step further. We get rid of stock car because U.S. is winning that every time around, right? Like not just U.S. The Southern United States is winning that every time around. So let's do F1.
Wasn't Jeff Gordon from California?
Yes. So was Jimmy Johnson, by the way.
So
it's not really the South sport anymore.
Stop with all your regional bias.
So I would do open wheel, all right? And this is the fun thing. Just about every country you're going to, there's already a course. There's already F1 courses in the United States. You don't have to do anything special. The course is already there. You just got to set it up at a weird time in the summertime.
Well, they are doing surfing in Tahiti
for
the Olympics, so I guess you could be right.
They're doing in 2028 softball and baseball, if I recall correctly. I know softball is. I don't know if baseball is. But softball is being played in Omaha at the Women's College World Series site, right?
Cool.
No, it's not. We're sending those poor women to Oklahoma in July. They're gonna. Oh no, the poor Swedes are gonna die.
Like I said, cool. Home court advantage,
big time.
Home field advantage. My bad.
Big time. So I'm gonna add auto racing. I'm gonna add paintball. We got a texter, 71307. Start your text with FAN, 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 FAM. We'll read them on the air. We got a texter that said pickleball, with its growth, it's inevitable.
That's probably true.
I don't disagree, but here's my question. Is pickleball internationally growing, or is it an American thing? Right? Because that's the other thing is if you're going to pick a sport, I think you've got to pick a sport that's like everybody would be involved with. Everybody would be on board with, right? Like baseball is not America's game anymore.
All right. So I went to Google it and was going to say other than U.S., but the first thing it says, do they play pickleball in Europe? And yes, and it is a growing sport in Europe. The sport is considered Europe's fastest growing sport and is popular in cities like Madrid, Barcelona, Malaga, Cadiz, and Seville in Spain.
España.
Malaga, Malaga, Malaga.
I am not going to add pickleball because pickleball is, with all due respect to those of you that play it and love it, I am not trying to bust you up on this. It is boring as hell to watch. It's boring as hell to watch.
I kind of want to learn how to play pickleball.
Oh, listen, go play. I've played it. It's fun. All right, it's enjoyable, but it's fun to play. It sucks to watch. It is boring as hell to watch.
The only person I believe that I know who plays pickleball regularly is Charlie James. So I have to maybe I could get Charlie to take me out and teach me some of the fundamentals.
My soon to be.
Is there an age limit? I mean,
no, anybody can play.
No, so I thought maybe you have to be over 50 to play.
No, anybody can play.
All right.
My soon to be brother and sister-in-law play pickleball feverishly in Charlotte. They are both much younger than I am.
So this is not the new shuffleboard.
No,
because that's kind of what I'm getting from it.
Pickleball is being played by everybody. Everybody's playing pickleball right now. But I am going to tell you that it is boring as to watch.
How is it more boring than doubles tennis? I mean, doubles tennis is exciting. Why is it not?
Because it is a quarter of the size and a quarter of the speed. If you give me Nadal,
so it's not like racquetball.
I said Charlotte. I meant Charleston for where they live. No, like racquetball is fast paced. I will watch some racquetball. It's fast paced. There's a little contact to it. Pickleball,
or when I'm playing, there's a lot of contact.
You know what pickleball is? Pickleball is tennis if it was a 75-year-old man.
That's why I asked if there was an age limit.
It's not. Anybody can play it, but it is boring as hell to watch. It's god-awful boring to watch.
Are you trying to say there's no skill involved?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, once again, I'm saying what I mean. It's boring.
You and I have never had a pickleball discussion before until now. So I'm asking you what I believe are legitimate questions.
It's boring to watch. It is slow. It is small. It is boring to watch. That's it. That's the whole take.
So like baseball?
No.
Okay.
No. Baseball is incredible to watch.
So the reason why I'm pointing this out is because baseball is boring to me. Pickleball might be exciting.
Go watch them. Pull it up on YouTube and watch it. And you let me know. Like there's pickleball leagues where Tom Brady invested heavy, I think with Gronk actually, invested heavy in a pro pickleball league. And people are watching it. I tried. It is boring as hell. It's boring as hell. So I do think pickleball is getting at it.
When Rob hits 40, suddenly he's going to get the urge to play pickleball. It's going to happen.
Listen to what I'm begging you to listen to me this time. I'm begging you to actually listen to me.
I hear every word you say.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't mean
Here's what I'm saying. I've played it. It's fun to play. It's fine to play. It's a great time to play. And it is also boring to watch.
So you're saying you lost?
No, I don't remember. I played for like 3 minutes.
If you won, you'd remember.
It's fun to play and it's boring to watch. That's it. That's all I'll take.
It sounds like, here's what I'm hearing. I'm not good at it, so I don't like it.
Why does everyone in my life decide that they want to tell me what I actually mean? Why can't one person go, oh, I hear what you're saying, and that's a wonderful point?
Sounds like a you thing.
No, it's everyone in this building. All right, so point here is pickleball's boring to watch. And yes, it is going on. And no, I have no interest in it. So I'm adding motorsports. I'm adding paintball to the rotation. Texas said, totally agree on auto racing. 2 Olympians from each country. Texas said, instead of motorsports, what about go-kart racing? Here's what I want. I'm good with that. I'm good with motorsports. If you do go-karts, I think the team should have to build their own kart too.
Let's do, what is that, Crash Up Derby? Put all the countries in there at once?
Like real life Mario Kart?
No, what they used to do.
Oh, like a demo derby, but racing.
Yeah, but just put all the countries into one arena at once. That would be awesome.
I'm for it. Texture said cornhole. You know what? If that is one that like the world would get behind, I'm all in on cornhole. I just don't think that's going to be a worldwide phenomenon.
I'm a cornhole prodigy, so I don't need to play it anymore.
That's it. And I'm 1-0 in pro wrestling. Let's take a break. When we come back, Abe Gordon from 92.9 The Game in the ATL talks a little Braves ball with us next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Sorry, there was a major hair flip on field hockey.
You got to pay attention to
and
it.
I had to hesitate.
I saw the girl took her headband off.
Because they did it in slow-mo. I mean, they recognized what we were seeing.
All right, guys, we're going to step away and get Abe on the phone. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Wonder if you can tie in the Olympics. Ooh, what do they do? And do they have like penalty shots or whatever that? Do they? Okay.
The Rob Brown Show continues here on the Fan Upstate. We've talked a little bit of baseball today on the radio program. We continue to do so now with our friend from over in the ATL. He is the host of the Abe TL show on 92.9 The Game in the ATL. I have had the pleasure of knowing this young man for far longer than he's probably willing to admit publicly. My guy, Abe Gordon, joins us to talk a little Braves ball. What's up, Abe?
Not too much, Rob. As always, appreciate you having me, man. Doing a little bit better than the last time I was chatting with you in regards to the Braves, but based off how things went yesterday, not a ton better. And so it's going to be a troubling discussion, I believe, between you and me today.
Abe told me when we were texting back and forth well into the evening talking Olympics the other day that when I had him on today, it was going to be unpleasant, and I believe there were some FCC violations within the context of the setting up of this interview. The fortunate thing is, Abe, the Bravos took a couple of back from the Mets since you and I last spoke in order to get back above the Mets in the NL East. The unfortunate part is that for about a 24-hour period, the Braves were behind the Mets in the NL East. Just overall, and I also want to say, it's injuries, but overall, why are the Braves the Braves?
Boy, that's a loaded question. You almost start to wonder if it goes back to too much belief in yourself. And we've seen this across a number of sports, right? Teams just think they're going to get something handed to them, and it doesn't work that way. And so for whatever reason, because I don't have an explanation, you can throw out Ron Washington's no longer there. What sort of impact is anything you try and explain away is just really, really grasping at things. But you've got a number of guys that are among the best at their position in baseball, not performing like guys among the best at their position in baseball. And when you talk about Michael Harris before he went down, he was on the struggle bus. Certainly Matt Olson has been riding it most of the year, as has Austin Riley. And obviously Orlando Arcia, who was an all-star, although that was unexpected on its own accord, is not playing anywhere near that level this year. And so offensively, you're just not winning games the way you were able to in previous seasons. Now, the pitching has masked that a little bit, but I think you see that starting to fall apart on its own. You talk about the ups and downs of the weekend, right? You're right. You lose Thursday and Friday, you fall behind the Mets. You win Saturday and Sunday, you're starting to ride the high again, but at the same time, you get news that Ronaldo Lopez is headed for an MRI. And it's just like the hits just keep on coming. And quite frankly, with the trade deadline 28 hours away or whatever time it is tomorrow, there's not going to be enough time to make this team one that can get it done in October. It's just not going to happen this year.
So let's go with the biggest question. And I think this, Abe, is the question that is most important right now, because I don't think, and I think the last probably 5-6 years, if we went back and looked it up, I think this stands out. If you're a World Series team, you have to make deadline moves, right? Like that's just the way that it's been. If you were a World Series champion, you made deadline moves. That includes the Braves title run a couple of years ago. Are we going to see Atlanta do anything coming up to the deadline? Or is Alex Anthopoulos going to look at this situation and go, once we get everybody back and healthy, that will be the same as doing a big trade deadline push?
I think Alex Anthopoulos is looking at, and look, you have to be realistic, right? And for me, if I'm Alex Anthopoulos, and look, some people may say, you may have guys that call you and say, boy, that guy's got a loser mentality. And if you feel that way, fine. If I'm Alex Anthopoulos, I'm looking at this team right now and say, it's just not the year. It's not going to fall in the right way. And I'm not trying to overextend ourselves, get rid of prospects, do this, do that for a team that's not going to win the World Series. And look, maybe something pops up unexpectedly, but I don't think they're going to be overly aggressive this year. I don't think there's a move or a number of moves that can put you in contention. I've seen nothing to make me believe that you can get it done with guys that are on this roster this year. It's just not happening. Austin Riley has shown glimpses of getting going and then falls back into it. Same thing with Matt Olson. The offense is not going to be there for you to win in October. Maybe the pitching would to some extent, but now you've got more injury concerns along those lines. It's just not the year, man. And you have to admit to yourself that and kind of be honest and open about that and just kind of settle into the mode that, all right, we're not going to trade away prospects that maybe we could use in a trade next year.
We're talking with Abe Gordon from 92.9 The Game in Atlanta as the MLB trade deadline is tomorrow, waiting to see if Atlanta decides to make any moves at all. We do have a texter on our text line here, Abe, that says, is this season not similar to the 2021 season? There were a lot of injuries that year, and we did not get hot until August. Is it fair to draw comparisons from this year's team to the World Series team?
No, I don't think so. I think you're talking about two different ball clubs that have totally different feelings around them. And this feeling around the Braves right now, it feels like a team that is defeated. It feels like a team that is holding on. And you also have to settle with the idea of the weight of the expectation. And that's something that the previous teams didn't have to deal with. And this team, for whatever reason, is not handling it well. And maybe it goes all the way back to Strider and Acuna. But the offense just never got going. I mean, at least in previous seasons, there were glimpses of, all right, you can kind of see it coming around. Maybe it'll become – there's no glimpse of it right now. There's no reason for me to believe that the offense is going to get going, that they're going to snap into it and fall out of whatever slumps that they've been in. So, I mean, I understand it, but there's also a situation here, Rob. Fringe moves are not getting us done. And you made fringe moves in previous seasons that have had major impacts. This is not a fringe move type of year. If you're not bringing in one of the top arms or some significant bat, even though I don't know who that would be at this point, you're not going to make a difference. You're not going to make a dent.
I really wanted Randy Arozarena in Atlanta. Like, I know he's been slow for Tampa this year, but it just felt like he would be the Jock Peterson of this year. Alas, it was not to be. And I think that's the other part, Abe, is I think Atlanta waited too long, right? Like, if they're going to make a move, which leads me to believe that they're not going to, if they were going to make a move, they waited too long. So I've got to assume here the belief is once you get everybody back, or at least the ones you can get back, you know you're doing it without Strider, a top 10 player. You know you're doing it without Ronnie, a top 10 player. But once you get everybody else back into the rotation, fully healthy, et cetera, I've got to assume Alex thinks we're just going to be that team again. But you mentioned it. Like, I look at this team, and it looks like a lifeless team. Like, we know, Abe, every now and then they're going to have a 10-run game. Every now and then they're going to put up a 9 spot. The power, the ability is still there. But when I look at this team, I look at Brian Snicker. My man looks like he's asleep at the wheel half the time. They show the locker room, and I got Austin Riley out there flipping Matt Olson and the boys for the lulls in the locker room. Like, it just looks like a little league team that's more interested in just kind of hanging out. And based on what we've seen out of Atlanta the last few years in competition, it's just, Abe, I don't know how else to put it, dude. It's just disheartening to me.
Yeah, it is. And look, you're going to run into these sorts of years where almost everything goes wrong. And that's what's happened. Like, it's not just the injuries. It's the fact that some of your stars are not performing. And there's no way around it. And I've settled, like, for a while this season, Rob, I was into the mindset of, like, they'll come around. Like, these guys are too good not to get it going at some point. But, like, at this point in the season, like, I don't think they're coming around. And I'm not relying on, oh, they'll get hot in October. Like, I have no reason to believe that they'll get hot. Like, I haven't seen the stretch of them get hot for a course of 6, 8, 10 games. Not that you have to win them all, but just look like someone that no one wants to face. And they haven't looked in that way. And so for me, like I've just settled, man. Like I'm at the point where I've settled, and it's not the season. You hope Acuna comes back next year and doesn't have any after effects from his rehab. Same thing with Strider. Same thing with whoever else you bring in. You may be looking at replacing Max Fried. There's a lot of questions, but unfortunately, and it's not fun saying this because we're all huge Braves fans, and the expectations of this season were you're going to come in, you're going to be the best team in baseball again, and you're going to give it another crack in October, and you're not doing any of that. And it's unfortunate to say, but like, again, man, this just ain't the year, and it's just not going to happen. And you got to kind of reconcile with that.
We are talking to Abe Gordon from 92.9 The Game in Atlanta. All right, Abe, last one, and then we'll let you loose because I know you've got some work to do this AM. We've got a couple of people that are writing in saying, does this mean the Braves should be sellers, right? Should they write this off? This is a team that, as of today, despite all the doom and gloom that you and I are putting out in people's speakers right now, this is a team that is in the number one wild card spot right now. I mean, it's only by one game over San Diego, and I suspect that by the end of this week, they'll be in the second wild card spot. But being where they are, now obviously not going to be buyers, and obviously a lot of the team is youth, is guys you've got on long-term contracts because you brought them up. Are the Braves sellers? Do they follow your lead right this season off and start stockpiling for next year / 2026? What's the play between now and tomorrow's 5 p.m. deadline, or is it just nothing?
I think it's nothing. You're certainly not sellers. You're still, if I had to pick one, you're still more likely to be a buyer in some manner than sellers. I mean, look, teams that sell are teams that are rebuilding. The Braves have had a down year. They've had a rough go, but they have the pieces in place. And so you're not changing anything. You're not moving guys of significant value, especially ones that you already have deals with. Now, the one guy that you could have sold, if you really wanted to stretch yourself thin here, would have been Max Fried. If you had already committed to yourself that you were not going to re-sign him and we're not going to be competitive in that market, maybe there was something there. You get a number of prospects back, kind of re-girdle the farm system there a little bit. But that's not happening either. Certainly not happening with him out on injury. So, but no, they're not selling. They're chalking this year up, and they're going to give it another run next year, and they're going to do it with most of the same guys that you have right now. So no, you're not selling. Certainly not anyone significant. I mean, there are a couple of names that, like, if you have to move Ramon Laureano or Zach Short, like, so be it. But like, of all of the names that I think you're discussing, none of those guys are going anywhere.
Abe Gordon is the host of the Abe TL show on 92.9 The Game in Atlanta, Georgia. Abe, my man, we'll circle back around in a couple of weeks because I think we're either going to be having a discussion going, holy crap, we were wrong and glad to do it, or everything is sad and we need to drink together. We'll find out either way. Appreciate you, big dog.
Well, look, here's the deal, Rob. While I have lost confidence, it only really matters what happens in that team. And look, if they can make the playoffs, it is still anything goes. We've seen teams worse than this one get hot at the right time. So I'm not expecting it, but I also wouldn't be like totally shocked by it. But hopefully that's a discussion we can have in a couple of weeks.
Same and same. Abe, appreciate you, fella. Talk to you in a little while, man.
Always enjoy it, Rob. Thanks.
You got it. That is Abe Gordon from 92.9 The Game in Atlanta, Georgia, host of the Abe TL show. You can follow him on X at Abe Gordon. John Blau of the Post and Courier when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
You like?
All right, guys, quick read. Then we're lining up John, and we will be right back. Don't go anywhere. I don't know when Strike 5 will come out, but I will go see it.
I don't know. I think it started losing me around 3. I mean, it's not the same. Mike Myers stopped being funny a long time ago.
Oh, I disagree.
But luckily, the writing has been fairly good on those.
Shrek's been phenomenal.
I was going to say, name me the last movie he was in that he was funny on.
I couldn't name you the last movie he was in.
Right.
But that's not I don't know, that's him not being funny so much as he's just not an A-lister like the Austin Powers days. The Rob Brown Show continues. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob, the Great One Lonzo with you. And now joining us on the show, as he does every Monday morning at 8:40 to talk a little Clemson athletics, John Blau from the Post and Courier joins us on the show after John, I assume, very busy last couple of weeks for you. How you holding up, bud? All right, have you taken a nap?
I've taken a couple. So I think I'm recharged, ready for fall camp starts this week.
Yes, it does. And we're diving right back in. Of course, last week, ACC Media Days, I was there all week. One thing that jumped out at me, John, that was very interesting was how much of last year's, I don't want to say lack of success, because it wasn't a bad team for Clemson. It maybe just wasn't up to the standard fans wanted it to be. How much of some of the failure Dabo Swinney was putting directly on Cade Klubnik. He did it on this show on Thursday. He said, look, he took too many TFLs. He had bad picks. Bad handoff resulted in fumbles that were directly on him, etc. I found it very interesting that Dabo was placing so much of it directly on Cade Klubnik. Do you have any thought on why? I mean, A, is he right in your opinion? B, is that kind of a tool to press Cade Klubnik to be more detail-oriented? Because he did that with a number of stations, not just this one. Have you heard that, and what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think maybe, like you said, pressing the buttons a little bit, trying to make sure he's on his P's and Q's, because it is a little bit of a different tact. I mean, if you think about DJ Uyunglele for the couple of years he was here, Dabo was constantly harping about how it's the guys around him. We have to be better around him. And I think they obviously still need to be better around Cade this year. But if you look at everything they bring back, just the experience in the offensive line, a really deep receiver core obviously needs to prove itself, but a ton of potential there. A lot of it does hinge directly on Cade just being a cleaner performer in terms of, again, just some of the mistakes he made. You think about the Florida State game in overtime, throwing a quick screen to the receiver when he should have just handed the ball off. Miami taking the ball when he should have just handed it off, and ended up losing that game in overtime too. I mean, just too many TFL sacks, like you said. A lot of the success of this offense hinges on whether Cade Klubnik can cut those mistakes out, because I think Clemson does have a feeling that they have more around him for this offense to be much better as long as Cade Klubnik is playing the way he should. So, and obviously to add on that, Dabo has said he thinks that Cade will take that step. He does think that the mistakes he made last year, the trials and tribulations he went through have made him a better quarterback, and he will take a big step from year 1 to year 2. But it's absolutely a necessity. I think Dabo's just kind of calling that out.
There was something else that I found interesting when we spoke with Garrett Riley at the open house, when I spoke with Cade Klubnik on Thursday, when I spoke with Dabo Swinney on Thursday. All of them said that one of the things they want to do is give Cade Klubnik what he wants within this offense, right? To almost like they were going to tailor the offense to allow Cade Klubnik to make decisions, as opposed to try to box Cade Klubnik into this offense. Have you gotten that same vibe? Because I heard it from all three entities, and to hear that at the same time that I hear Dabo saying Cade was making mistakes, Cade had too many bad decisions, etc. To hear those things tells me either they really believe that Cade Klubnik is going to grow as a quarterback this offseason, or they're just going to lean into it this year.
Yeah, I think they believe he's grown, and Cade talked about it. Cade talked about it at ACC Media Days, just in terms of, he was really just learning the offense as he was going through last season. He doesn't really feel like until the last maybe handful of games of the season he was managing games well, because every single play they ran, it was, the first or second time he was kind of experiencing what that play was going to unfold like. I think now he's got a greater sense of what plays look like from pre and post snap reads, canceling routes, seeing in my progression, I don't need to look there. I just look here because it's this coverage. He has a better sense. And so once you have that sense, now they can say, okay, Cade, what type of plays do you like? Where do you want to go with the ball? What's working for you? You can have kind of a greater communication like that with your quarterback. So I think it's just a natural progression in terms of a guy who was a first-year starter, a sophomore, going to be a second-year starter as a junior, a second year in an offense for the first time in his career. I think they do have faith that he's starting to kind of get a grasp and a handle for what's going on. And obviously, everybody saw in the game-winning drive against Kentucky. I think they really do feel like when he is able to play freer, not think as much, and I think some of it's psychological in terms of just feeling comfortable and settled, that he's a better quarterback. And I think that's just part of that is, again, like you're saying, talking to him, what is comfortable, what does he like, kind of give him more ownership there. And I think they have a sense that he'll do a pretty good job in that situation.
We talked with Cade Klubnik about Phil Maffa, and he went on to say, hey, look, man, one of the nicest, sweetest guys you're ever going to talk to, but then you put the ball in the gut and the guy becomes an absolute animal. I know that Garrett Riley's talked a lot more about his, quote, dirt raid offense, end quote, but then I've also heard all the comments about turning Cade loose and making sure his Cade's comfortable, et cetera. What do you expect to kind of be the split? Are we going to see a relatively 50-50 carry? Are we going to see maybe a 60-40 lean on the run because Maffa's going to be that guy? If I asked you to kind of give me your thought on a preview of the Clemson offense split between the run game and the pass game, what do you think we are going to see?
Yeah, I mean, dirt grade, like you said, I think it's going to be either balanced or you might even see a little bit of a tilt towards the run, maybe 55-45, because you do have a guy like Maffa who only gets stronger as the game goes on because you have to tackle this big 6-foot, 230-pound running back who, like you said, really comes at you and really leans into it. So there's him, and then also their number 2 running back potentially is going to be Keith Adams Jr. They call him Hammerhead. He's the son of the linebacker, Keith Adams. And you have to make a quote-unquote business decision is what Garrett Riley said when you're tackling him too. So imagine 2 guys kind of really, bruising the opposing defense, and then you get to go play action off of that, get the box loaded up, and it makes things really easy on Cade in terms of one-on-one matchups. So I think they're going to want to exploit it as much as they can. They're going to run Maffa. I think I heard Dabo, one of the comments he made on ACC Network, is it's going to be a buffet for Phil Maffa, an all-you-can-eat buffet. And so, they're going to absolutely lean on him as much as they can as long as he's healthy. And then it's going to be interesting to see who the backs behind him are. Again, Keith Adams Jr. or Jay Haynes are more of a speed guy, Jarvis Green, all that. But, I expect them to lean heavily on it. Dirt raid will be exactly what you think it's going to be.
All right, last one, John. We'll let you get back to it. I was obviously listening to the commissioner, Jim Phillips, during his state of the conference, whatever you want to call it, last week. Had a lot to say about the lawsuits, had a lot to say about making sure the ACC remains one of the top 3 conferences in college sports, et cetera, et cetera. What did you think about Jim Phillips' comments? He said the lawsuits were damaging, said that he's going to continue to fight to protect the conference. I heard a lot of posturing and not a lot of direction out of the commissioner outside to say what we already know, which is they're going to fight this thing tooth and nail because if Clemson and FSU leave, I think there's an exodus. I think everybody follows. What did you make of the commissioner's comments?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of what you expect. Like you said, maybe a little bit of posturing in terms of obviously coming out and being forceful in terms of the words of harmful, damaging, disruptive, all that. It was interesting the tone in which he used. He's, reading off of a teleprompter, but he definitely, underlined those words. He was very forceful in the way he delivered it. But like you said, yeah, it's an existential thing for the ACC. They can't have Clemson and FSU bully their way out because then you're going to have other schools that obviously want to get out as soon as Clemson and FSU do. So he's doing what he feels like he has to do in terms of, being the leader of the conference, trying to keep the conference together, trying to spin the message back to the fact that, they raised had $700 million of revenue for the first time and all the championships they won and all of that. I mean, it just is kind of funny. He makes those comments. And then obviously the football highlight, the first frame in that video is Dabo Swinney from Clemson. So obviously it's kind of a weird thing where they're obviously battling their own school, which, the value of the conference depends on the value of the Clemson, of a Clemson and FSU, but at the same time, they want to get out. It's obviously a huge mess, but Phillips is doing what he wants to do, what he needs to do. And that's, kind of call out what he feels like his quote unquote bad behavior in the conference. Whether it actually gets him very far remains to be seen.
We are talking with John Blau, who covers Clemson athletics for the Post and Courier. Joins us every Monday at 8:40 to talk Clemson Tiger sports. John, my man, appreciate you, bud. Go enjoy at least a couple of days of R&R before we get right back to it.
Sounds good. I appreciate it. Thanks, Rob.
You got it. John Blau from the Post and Courier. Again, every Monday at 8:40 talks Clemson athletics with us. Let us run to our final top of the hour break. Coming up in the next hour, we will hear from Don Munson, voice of the Clemson Tigers. We'll talk a little Olympic soccer as the men and women both victorious over the weekend in big-time matches. And before any of that, you were going to hear an absolute gold medal sports flash from Lonzo.
They have platinum. I get it. The U.S. men's basketball team got off to a hot start in the Olympic Games with a 110-84 win over Nikola Jokic and Serbia. Kevin Durant went 8-9, including 5 threes, and wrote to 23 points in 17 minutes in his first 5-on-5 action since April. While LeBron James went 9-13 for 21 points. Team USA will play South Sudan on Wednesday, while the women's team will open Olympic play today at 3 p.m. against Japan. Spire Motorsports has confirmed that driver Corey LaJoie will not return to the team after this season. LaJoie has spent 4 seasons with the team, tallying 4 top 5s and 6 top 10s and 129 races. Tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, and a whole lot of fun. Not sure if Cole's back or not, but Diesel is. Make sure you listen 3 to 7 to Wire to Wire.
I'm Lord Houston on the fan. Upset. Is arthritic joint pain keeping you from doing the things you love? Bone-on-bone pain in your knees, hips, back, or shoulders? Hey, it's Charlie James. There are exciting new cellular therapies that can get you lasting relief. QC Kinetics is helping patients like you every day. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. I'm talking cutting-edge treatments that accelerate your own body's healing properties, revitalizing your joints so you can move again. They've helped so many people here and tens of thousands more around the country. If you're living with chronic pain from arthritis or injury, you need to know steroids and surgery and pain pills are no longer your only option. Learn how QC Kinetics can treat the pain, enhance your joints, restore your mobility, and give you long-term relief with no downtime. This is the future of medicine. Call for a free consultation now. 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772 in Greenville and in Nashville. 864-448-3772.
Mad World Haunted Attraction is having the biggest ticket pre-sale of the year. All tickets will be 35% off from one day only on Friday, August 16th. Prepare Mad World tickets for the season alone.
Yes. I'm here for it for a couple of reasons. Number one, there's a couple of very good comic books that connect Tony Stark to Doctor Doom, including some where he is Doctor Doom. Number 2, I think you can honestly pretty easily come up with a pretty good multiverse storyline to explain that.
One of my favorite things so far, people are showing Tom Holland Spider-Man, the look on his face when he sees.
I think that's interesting. Number 3, somebody said, well, all you're doing is making it to where the stakes don't matter in the multiverse. And my response is, number 1, yes, they do. Iron Man's dead. Our Iron Man is cooked. But if you're mad about that, you already had to be mad about Endgame because they've already done that with Gamora and Thanos, right? Both of them, spoiler alert, both of them died and then didn't come back. Both of them died and were replaced by another multiverse version of themselves in that movie.
In Thanos' case, he died again, didn't he? I believe.
Yeah, he got his head chopped off once and then he got dusted at the end. Gamora, and remember, because the whole thing with Black Widow was if you die on Vormir and you were the sacrifice for the Soul Stone, you're dead. Hulk said that, right? Except for Gamora got cooked by Thanos for the Soul Stone, and then the multiverse version showed up. So that is already out the window as something to be upset about.
Well, also, Black Widow could show up in Secret Wars because how that works, they bring, So.
And that's the other thing is because of the particular setup of Secret Wars, which I don't want to give it away yet, but you've already seen that.
I did that to myself, so I had to mark it out because I'm the one that brought the Secret Wars thing in. So
you already know why, frankly, none of this really matters all that much.
Daddy, how you doing?
Real good, Corey. Thanks for asking. That makes me sad.
That's why I hesitated.
Yeah.
That's my fault.
Yeah.
My bad.
It makes me sad.
Do I have to kill it? No.
I mean, we got 4 more races in the regular season before Corey LaJoie is no longer a Spire driver. I'm going to say this. He won't be a Spire guy anymore, which also means, unfortunately, we will likely not have him back in studio again, at least not anytime soon. But that doesn't stop Corey LaJoie from being friend of the show, Corey LaJoie, right? Like, he's still a repeat guest on the Rob Brown Show.
During Sports Flash, I said friend of the show, and then I started thinking about it. Is he still friend of the show?
Yeah, I'm going to say, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to say he is, for sure. All right, let's do some Olympic stuff here. All right, let's do some Olympic stuff. Let's start with basketball. Starting on the basketball front, let's open with the men's side. They get the 110-85 win over Nikola Jokic and Serbia in round 1, game 1. And it was all about LeBron and Kevin Durant. Durant was a dude. Started the game 8 of 8 coming off the bench. Of course, Steve Kerr elected not to put Cade in the starting lineup, which made sense as Cade did miss all of the tune-up matches because of that strain to his lower leg. But he came back out and he was a dog. Asked if Steve Kerr was shocked by not just Cade's return, but his success in the return. Steve Kerr said this.
It was incredible, but not surprising given what I've seen from Kevin in the past. I've said it before. I think he's the most skilled basketball player I've ever seen. The game just comes so easily for him, and a long layoff like that doesn't seem to bother him. And he was brilliant tonight. Obviously, just shifted the game as soon as he got on the floor.
Yeah, he did. I was listening to the play-by-play of the game. And my dude, Dwayne Wade, on the call was losing his mind over Kevin Durant.
Can we talk about Dwayne Wade, though? He's not good, man.
He's not
bad.
Not
good. He didn't want to give – anytime someone brought up how good Jokic was, he wanted to downplay. Well, Kevin Durant is just as good. It's like, dude, stop. I mean, listen, be an analyst or don't be.
Here's what I'm going to say. It's a tough spot for a I'm going to use the word professional. I don't mean the acting a professional. I mean, you actually do it as a job. And I will even acknowledge, probably tough for me to be calling that game on the broadcast when you're not supposed to be a fan. When Dwayne Wade played with like 4 of those dudes, right? Played with Bam, played with LeBron. Like, he's played with these guys. So to go into that spot, especially when, and I kind of give D-Wade a pass here a little bit. Because Dwayne Wade is not a play-by-play guy. He is a ringer brought in for this event, for these games. So I don't really expect him to totally turn off the fandom in this case.
Listen, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, acknowledge that guy has been the MVP in the league
2 out of the last 3 years.
Yeah. So acknowledge it without a but. Just say it and move on. And he could not do that.
I mean, I get it. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying I get where Dwayne Wade's coming from.
And he wasn't very good. I mean, even beside that, he's just not very good.
I thought he was fine. I will say this. I thought I don't even know who the play-by-play guy was, to be honest with you. It
was Eagle.
Was it Ian Eagle?
No. It was his son.
Noah Eagle.
Yeah.
I like Noah. Noah's good.
Yeah, I thought he did a great job.
One of the things that was
he had to compensate for how bad Dwayne Wade was. So that made him do it even better.
Basically, what D Wade was doing was just popping off whenever something incredible happened, right? Like he was fanned out on the mic.
Kind of what the color guy is supposed to do, right?
No, a color guy to me. So again, not a huge deal. Whatever. It's Olympic basketball.
Sorry, analyst.
Yes.
Whatever.
What I want from that guy, play-by-play tells you what happened. Color tells you why it happened, right? But what ended up happening was Noah Eagle was having to tell you what happened and why it happened, and then Dwayne Wade was just the fan for a minute, right? Like there was one point where I think Jovic and Jokic came down the floor, and Serbia sent the 3 other guys. I think Bogdanovic was out there, and whoever the other 2 guys were. They sent Jokic and Jovic down the left side. They sent Jokic to the block. They sent Jovic with the ball to the 3-point line. Then they sent, I think, Bogdanovic out to it doesn't matter. The other 3 guys went 3 levels on the far side, right? 1 on the block, 1 on the wing, 1 up top. And Noah Eagle's like, all right, here comes whoever, Jokic and Jovic, playing the 2-man game on the left-hand side, and they're doing this because what they're trying to do is force Joel Embiid to come out, play a little further. Like, he's explaining the game, and I'm like, that's Dwayne's job. But again, Dwayne doesn't do this for a living. He's a ringer that got brought in. This is one of the problems I've always had with forcing ex-athletes onto a mic, right? Because unless you train them to be good at it, they don't necessarily know how to explain what they're seeing and talking about in a way that translates. They did make it sound like he's going to be doing this going forward in other avenues, like maybe in the NBA or something. So, I mean, it made it sound like this is going to be his job. He needs to get better at it. That's all I'm saying. Again, if they're gonna trot him out for NBA games, I totally agree. It was not good enough for me to tune into 1, 2, 3 times a week on an NBA game. For the Olympics, I'm fine with it. To the point where I'm going to try to find the foreign broadcast whenever I watch. That's a little dramatic. Can you even get those, I wonder? Oh, I'm sure you can. I didn't go looking for it, but I'm sure you can. I thought it was fine. All right, let's keep going with the team. LeBron James. So when I talked about this back in the first hour, this dude is not playing. I will say one more thing about Dwayne Wade. One more thing. The only issue that I had was that Dwayne Wade kept making like the same 3 jokes and references over and over, right? Like at one point, Kevin Durant knocked down his like 3rd or 4th 3, and he was like, his pronouns are he, him. And then that like LeBron threw down an oop, and he's like, yeah, his pronouns are he, him. And I'm like, all right, bud, we got it. It's a pronouns joke. We understand. But like, that's a third dude you've said that about in this game. I need you to have a new go-to about how he is him. I'm good with it. Like the pronoun reference, fine, whatever. I don't care. All right. My pronouns are in my email. I don't care. If it bothers you, delete my email. I don't care. On the flip side, you just made the same joke like 7 times. Like, okay, we get it. Right. But outside of that, I was good with it. All right. So LeBron James,
You sure there's nothing else that you could think of? I mean,
not yet. I'll come back. If I do, I'll come back around.
Okay, all right.
As far as LeBron goes, like, and Zoe and I, again, we talked about this earlier. Olympic LeBron is coming for blood.
Yeah, LeBron had another level that he was going to get to following the 5 friendly games that we played. And you know, Spo and Ty Lue both told me, you know, they've coached him before. They said when the stakes are at their highest, he's at his best. And he was really good in the friendlies, but there's a different level of energy. And at 39, for him to still be doing this is amazing. But there are times where he kind of conserves his energy and uses it at the right time. And we needed that tonight.
Yeah, that's it. And for the record, good. He's 39. Good. He's ancient. Good. Because here's the thing. I don't need LeBron out there going full throttle when Team USA's up 20 on Serbia. I need LeBron to hang back. I need LeBron to chill. Why? Because you know, as Dwayne Wade pointed out at the end of every quarter, well, you know, it's really important that you close out quarters. I'm like, is the last 5 more important than the first 5, Dwayne? You don't have to say it at the end of every quarter, my guy.
So other than that, you're okay.
Other than that, I'm good with Dwayne. Dwayne just had
banger after banger after banger
all game long. So I'm good with that because, yes, teams are going to push you at the end of quarters. They're going to push you towards the end of the quarter. And I want LeBron to be able to go full afterburner at that point. I want LeBron to be, when Nikola Jokic, as he did at the end of the second quarter, starts to get hot a little bit, that's when I'm going to go, LeBron, now. LeBron, now. Now it's time for you to go full throttle. Now it's time for you to open her up. And that's what happened. And I was good with it. But there was one very interesting thing that happened. NBA champion Jayson Tatum didn't play.
Yeah, it's tough, but Jayson handled it really well. I talked to him today before the game that it may play out this way, just with Kevin coming back and the lineups that I wanted to get to. But that'll change. You know, Jason's going to play. Every game's going to be different based on matchups. He's a total pro. He's, you know, first team All-NBA 3 years in a row. I felt like an idiot not playing him. But in a 40-minute game, you can't play more than 10. You really can't. And, you know, so I think he's an amazing guy, great player, and handled it beautifully. And, you know, he'll be back out there next game.
You know what he meant was, listen, kid, you're the Christian Laettner of this team. I mean, as far as stardom goes, I mean, yeah, you're a pretty good player, but you're not on the level of he, him and all the he, hims that are on this on this team. So I'm going to get you some playing time in a game where we know we can win. But this game mattered, so sorry. I hope the bench was comfortable.
Oh, so he's Rob Brown. Got it. So I am going to elect to believe Steve Kerr. Also, welcome to the board, our new sound clip.
I felt like an idiot.
I'll use that a lot.
I felt like an idiot.
Because I am an idiot.
I felt like an idiot.
So I think that top to bottom, I believe Steve Kerr here because there's not really, and I was thinking about this after we got off the air and they pointed out Jayson Tatum never saw the floor. What spot in this game would I have put Jayson Tatum out there? And the answer I came up with, so was I'd have put Jayson Tatum out there if Durant checked in. And Durant was needed some time to ramp his game up, but he didn't. He came out there and started 8 of 8, including 5 of 5 from deep. Kevin Durant was on some flow.
You're a winner, man. You're the real deal. You're picking up chicks.
And that's the spot I'd have gone Jay Tate, but I didn't need him. And when he's playing well, when LeBron's balling out, those two guys are playing the spot that Jayson Tatum would go in, but I'm able to flip-flop those two guys who are white hot, and now what I have is a fully rested Jayson Tatum to go off against South Sudan while I give Braun and KD some time to rest their legs heading into the final group stage match, which hopefully won't matter, but might.
There was another guy who didn't play. Why are we not talking about him?
Because Jayson Tatum's Jayson Tatum.
Yeah, but what's the other guy? What's his name?
Who else didn't play? Derek White played.
I think the dude who played for the Sirs.
Don't call him that. Don't give him anything. We give him nothing. All right.
Halliburton.
Tyrese Halliburton.
Yes.
I think you're right. Actually, I don't think he got PT.
Yeah, he didn't play.
But I'd also argue,
and no one cares that he didn't play. It's all about Jayson. Is Halliburton not good?
If I'm keeping it a buck, you're right. Like Halliburton is good, but is he Jayson Tatum good? I don't think so.
Apparently they're equal because neither one of them played.
But again, I would also point out, let's go one step further and let's point out
the game was well in hand and near the with a few minutes left. He could have put both those guys in there. He absolutely could have. What it comes down to is the guys who were in there didn't want to come out, and so he listened to them.
I will tell you, managing the egos of this team, to me, has got to be the biggest challenge, right?
I think the biggest ego is the guy coaching. So, I mean, it's not, I'm an idiot. Yeah, well, you were never going to put him in anyway.
I felt like an idiot.
He was never going to put him in. And he knew he was going to have to explain it afterwards.
Again, I would ask you, where's the spot you put him in?
I just said it.
And for the record, that game was not out of hand till about 2 minutes left to play.
Right. They were up by
you,
10 or so. So what you're saying is there would have been a major drop-off if you put either one of those guys in.
The reason I was bringing up managing the...
Which means he's not good enough to be out there.
The reason that I was bringing up managing the ego of the players on this team, and that is probably Steve Kerr's toughest job. It's not the same as when you're coaching an NBA team.
Well, he watched one of the best of all times do it in Coach K.
Managing the ego. Right, but Coach K didn't have allegiances to separate players for separate reasons like Steve Kerr does when Steph Curry's out there. Remember, at one point...
That's why he was a better coach of this kind of team.
See, I don't agree, though, because Coach K doesn't have the experience of managing the ego like Steve Kerr does. And sometimes managing the ego is smoothing the ego the right way, the right time. So
I'm glad you stopped yourself there because I
real close
didn't know where you were going.
Managing the ego sometimes is understanding. Like sometimes there are some players you got to give the special treatment, like Steph Curry. When Steph goes in, gets roughed up, Steve Kerr pulls him out. Steph walked to the bench, walked over to Steve, looked at him, talked to him, and goes right back to the scorer's table. If it's anybody but Steph, Steve Kerr's not putting him back in. But Steph walked over there and said, put me back out there with Braun and let me do my thing. And Steve Kerr did. I think for some of these guys, because I don't know, I was this way as a high school player, and it's going to be looked down upon. Watch this, y'all. Lonson's about to judge the hell out of me. When I played for my team, basketball, high school, not quite Olympic level NBA player. Not quite, close. When I played, if I didn't play for 38 minutes and then my team was up 30 with 2 minutes left to go, I don't want to go in now. I will sit my ass on the bench where you had me for 38.
You didn't want any garbage time.
Correct. I'd rather not play. Honestly, I would rather not. I would rather sit for 38 and let the dudes who built the 30-point lead finish it than send me out there to be the guy that is known as the scrub-ass end-of-the-bench loser. Just let me be the guy that's never on the court so nobody knows. All right? I'm going to keep my warm-ups on. I'll be here at the end of the pine. I will come out. I will bust my ass for you in practice, but don't throw me out there for the last 2 minutes when we're getting it handed to us or handing it to them. See, I'd rather not play.
See, that's not me. If I don't play, you put me in the last 2 minutes of a football game, I get in there, I get a sack, and I turn around and look at the coaches like, see, this is on you. This is what could have been out here, but you've decided to not let me out here.
Nobody thinks guy who gets a sack in the last two is getting a sack in the first two because they ain't doing their thing no more either, all right? It's garbage time. We call it garbage time for a reason. It's not, I'm going to make the Pro Bowl in the last 2 minutes.
So what
it's
you're
garbage.
saying is they didn't give Jayson Tatum and that other guy playing time because they didn't want them to deal with the fact they were going in for garbage time.
Because what's the headline? Jayson Tatum makes 2
By the
minutes
way-
of garbage time
By
appearance.
the
Who
way,
cares?
They're still talking about it anyway, so it didn't solve the problem.
I'm not saying it did.
If he goes in and gets some monster dunks or
Listen, I'm
something, they're good. I mean, there might be some European people who wanted to see Jayson Tatum play.
I don't care about them. I ain't there for them. I'm not there to make the French fans happy, as they clearly weren't when Joel Embiid came out. I'm not there to make the French guys happy. I'm there to win. All right, real quick before we take a break, because I know we're right up on it. I'll save this for the other side. Don Staley talked about Caitlin Clark not being on the squad, and we love Don on the show. I love Don Staley. I've told you she's my favorite active coach. But Dawn, she gave up the game on Caitlin Clark a little bit this weekend, and I have to address it. All fair in love and basketball. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Yes, I'm in the starting blocks because I have to pee. And of course, it's the longest liner we have because I have to pee.
At least I didn't go 4 minutes long.
I was getting ready to pull out cable, man. I was getting ready to.
All right, guys, I'm stepping away for 45.
Still say he should change his name to Dadgum Diesel. Dadgum Diesel.
You ever played wiffle ball, like real wiffle ball?
I've hit a wiffle ball.
Yeah, but have you played wiffle ball? I don't think I've ever played.
I did. I don't know if I have. Maybe in college? No, I don't know. Are you looking at adult wiffle ball leagues?
No, I'm looking at a guy who apparently, I'm watching it. Again, I don't know if it's the internet. It could be totally made up. But a guy who apparently throws a wiffle ball 106 miles per hour.
Don't believe it. Do not believe it.
I mean,
I don't.
Cooking.
I don't think that's scientifically possible.
His last name's Stoner.
Stoner.
Or at least that's the name on the jersey.
It might be his lifestyle.
I mean, if you can smoke weed and then do this, I think you figured it out.
Maybe it limbers him up.
I sell tickets to tens of people to come watch you throw up. For the record, the American Cornhole Association 2024 National Championships are in Rock Hill. Want to go watch the cream of the crop play cornhole? Because I don't not want to do that.
I have stereotypical perceptions of the crowd and or the participants. The equivalent of a country concert, but I could be wrong. Maybe cornhole has made its way across the country and the world.
Taking over. Eat it, pickleball. Cornhole's the real sport of retirees.
Horseshoes will always
Nobody plays
be
horseshoes
first.
anymore.
I don't believe that you're wrong.
Last place you went that had a horseshoe set up.
I don't go anywhere. That's not a fair question.
Okay, I'll answer it because I go everywhere. Nowhere.
I think horseshoes might be regional.
I mean, I'm around a lot of places where there's horses.
I'll say horseshoes are big in Ohio. I know that.
I did see a game that I'm going to build. You know how people play washers? You seen people throw washers before?
Mm-hmm,
It's kind of like cornhole, smaller board, but you throw washers, like hardwood washers.
I mean,
but I was in Buc-ee's yesterday.
What's the distance?
10 feet.
Okay.
But the board's like only like that big.
How big's a washer?
It's a washer, like a.
I know, but they make little tiny washers. I don't.
I saw one yesterday.
I thought this was something you and I could play here. I thought that's what.
No, we could. We could theoretically play it just back and forth across the wall. All right, so y'all know I love Dawn Staley. I do. I am a big fan. I have said multiple times, and I mean it. She is, as far as I am concerned, she is my favorite coach in really in sports right now, to keep it a buck. Dawn Staley is not coaching the women's Olympic teams, but she is in Paris, France. She is there as part of the presidential delegation to the Olympics. And yesterday, Mike Tirico had her on during the pre, halftime, and post-game shows for the men's team. Well, they also spent some time talking about the women. And Dawn Staley was asked a little bit about the selection process for Caitlin Clark. And here's what Dawn had to say.
There's so much conversation about women's basketball. The run you at South Carolina had to the national championship, a perfect season. Obviously, Caitlin Clark. And there was so much conversation on, should Caitlin be on the U.S. women's national team? You were part of the selection group. Mm-hmm. Give me your read on that now that we've got a little bit of time and we can get into some clear air to see what happened.
Right. When as a committee member, you're charged with putting together best team of players, the best talent. Caitlin is just a rookie in the WNBA. Wasn't playing bad, but wasn't playing like she's playing now. If we had to do it all over again, the way that she's playing, she would be in really high consideration of making the team because she is playing head and shoulders above a lot of people, shooting the ball extremely well. I mean, she is an elite passer. She's just got a great basketball IQ, and she's a little more seasoned in the pro game.
In a couple of months.
Yeah, in a couple of months than she was 2 months ago.
That's great perspective to add there.
So I heard that. I said, hang on. So I went back and I looked at when it was that we first found out that Caitlin Clark was not on the team. We first found out that Caitlin Clark was not on the team somewhere in the neighborhood of like June 9th. Basically, they made the determination on Caitlin Clark not making the team after 12 games. And for the record, same with Angel Reese. Okay, same with Angel Reese. But 12 games. We decided 12 games was what they decided not to send Caitlin Clark for. But that also means something else. Because I understand that if you were basing it on the first month of, which is what they did, according to this, the first month of Caitlin Clark's WNBA career, and solely on the first month of Caitlin Clark's WNBA career, it would make sense. The numbers weren't spectacular. But that also means that you ignored everything she did at Iowa. It also ignores everything she did that made her the number 1 overall draft pick. It also ignores everything that made her the best player the women's game at the college level has ever seen. And basically what you said was, we think that 12 wins, or 12 games, pardon me. We think that 12 games was enough to justify losing her or leaving her off. Now, let me be real clear about one thing. I said this about Diana Taurasi. I said this about a bunch of Olympians. Always have, always will. The Olympics are not about anything but winning, right? I think we can all acknowledge that. We know the NFL, has a lot to do with selling tickets, selling merch, getting people to watch TV. NBA, NHL, MLB, all of it. It's a lot to do with selling tickets, moving merch, and getting people to watch. But the Olympics are not about feel-good stories, and they're not about the feelings, and they're not. They are about
Ask
winning.
Jayson Tatum about that. People are learning that.
100%.
Yeah.
And for the record, if Steve Kerr is telling the truth and Jayson Tatum really looked him in the face and was like, Coach, whatever we needed to win, infinite respect to Jayson Tatum for that. Because it is not about the feel-good stories. It's about the winning. And Steve Kerr said as much when asked about Jayson Tatum not playing. So, I don't care. And here's why I say that. I do not care whether Caitlin Clark would have raised awareness about women's basketball in the Olympics. I don't care. I don't care if she would have sold 1 billion Team USA jerseys with 22 on the back. I don't care. I don't care if she would have quadrupled the amount of people watching women's basketball in the Olympics. I don't care. I care about one thing and one thing alone. Lonzo, could you cue up Charlie Sheen for me? Because Charlie knows the one thing that I am looking for here.
It's on here. It got so many things. It's
Charlie!
Trying to find it.
Charlie!
I can't find it. It's too much pressure.
Charlie! Where you at, Charlie Sheen? I need you, Charlie Sheen. What's the one thing we care about in the Olympics, Charlie Sheen? The only thing that matters, Charlie Sheen.
Actually, that might have disappeared when we went through all the problems that we had over here.
Fine, I'll do it myself. Charlie, the only thing we care about in the Olympics is winning. Winning. But see, here's the thing. Caitlin Clark would have helped you do that. Yeah, I'm still salty about it. I really am. Because what we just got here was Don Taylor saying, oh, now that Caitlin Clark looks like Caitlin Clark from the college days, we would put her on the team today. We'd add her to the roster today. Yeah, except we knew that was coming down the pipe, right? There he is. Thanks, Charlie. Welcome to the party, Charlie.
I had to go pull it out of files to get it back in there, but now it's back where it belongs.
Respect the hustle. You took 12 games of her WNBA career on, by the way, the worst team in the WNBA. You took 12 games of her on the worst team in basketball and decided that was enough not to send her, and ignored everything she did during her tenure at Iowa, when she was the best basketball player for multiple consecutive years in the entire college ranks, and decided that wasn't enough. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. I think we blew it. I don't care about the jersey sales. I don't care about the fans. I don't care about the TV audience. Charlie Sheen, I care about one thing and one thing alone.
Winning.
Bingo. Bingo. And I feel like we kind of botched that. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. That's how I felt about it. That's how I still feel about it. We blew it. So we got that. We got Team USA Soccer, both the men's and the women's squad pick up a dub. Of course, the American men, after getting smoked by France in the opener, that's the home side, right? You expect the home side going to come out in game number 1 and give you everything that they've got in that spot, and they did. They came out in the next game and lit it up to and including Walker Zimmerman. Like, they came out and they lit it up, which was appreciated. The women, on the other hand, went up against the number 4 team on planet Earth in Germany.
So as we discussed earlier off the air, so you're downplaying the men's win and you're upplaying the women's win when they both won.
I'm not downplaying the men's win at all. I think
are they not still in it?
They are, but what they need to do to reach the quarterfinals in this is long, and it's because of the spot that they put themselves in. So if the U.S. wins by 2+ goals, they are guaranteed to qualify in their final game. If they win by 1 goal, it will likely be enough, though it does not automatically guarantee qualification, as there are a couple of scenarios where the U.S. men could still be eliminated. If France wins or draws versus New Zealand, France will win the group with the U.S. qualifying in second. If, with any win, if New Zealand wins versus France, that leaves France, the U.S., and New Zealand all on 6 points, and places are then decided by goal differential. If the U.S. wins by 1 goal and New Zealand by 1, 2, or 4 plus, the U.S. goes through in the second. But if the U.S. wins by 1 goal and New Zealand by 3, all teams have equal goal differentials, and it comes down to goals scored in the group. If the U.S. wins 1-0 and New Zealand 3-0, the U.S. finish second. If the U.S. wins 1-0 and New Zealand 4-1, the records between the U.S. and France are identical. New Zealand wins the group. France finishes second as they won the group game against the U.S. Any other 3-goal margin score, including like a 5-2 tally to New Zealand, and the U.S. becomes third on goals scored and would not move on.
Or they could, in the next game, throw up another 4, right?
Which would help quite a bit. Win by 2 or more, automatically going on.
Right.
Automatically going on.
All right, so you named a ton of scenarios, and you acted like that they're out of it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Winning by 4 in soccer, even when you're playing lower tier temes like Guinea, who is up next, is not a guarantee. It's not a guarantee. Winning 1-0, winning this game 1-0 is very likely. Very likely. So it's not a downplay. It's just more not losing to France, because losing to France is understandable. It's one of the best soccer countries on the face of the earth. Getting smoked 3-0 by France created a world where you've either got to go out and do something remarkable to move on, or you've got to win the game and then really hope that the French help you out.
All right, I hate to change subjects, but I have to do this. You're doing something Thursday night that's pretty cool.
I am doing something Thursday night that's pretty cool.
You know what else?
Do we want to do that thing?
Some other people could go with you on Thursday night.
We do want to do the thing.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming up on Thursday, it is Carolina Panther Fan Fest at Death Valley Memorial Stadium on the campus at Clemson. Rob Brown and Diesel will be there live from 3 to 7 p.m. for Wire to Wire with Diesel and Rob Brown for that day. We'll be live at FanFest, and guess what? So can you. Because right now, 844-326-3663, Lonzo, caller number 2. Caller number 2 right now to 844-326-3663 is winning a family 4-pack of tickets to go to Panther Fan Fest on Thursday at Memorial Stadium on campus at Clemson. You are going to get to go, watch some practice, get engaged in the activities and whatnot. That is all coming up on Thursday. So right now, caller number 2 to 844-326-3663, winning a family 4-pack to come hang out with Diesel and me and the Carolina Panthers this Thursday. Caller number 2 right now. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, we got to step away to let Lonzo answer the phone. Be right back. wanted to see Blink 182 since they've been Blink 182 and never gotten the chance. This year has been a good year for Rob Brown getting to go watch bands he listened to in college.
I know that I probably have heard Blink 182, but nothing comes to mind for me as
All the
far
small
as hits.
things.
Okay, there
Adam
we go.
Song.
There we go.
What's My Age Again?
Okay, again.
The Rock Show.
All right, I knew half of those. So, and the other thing is titles don't always have something to do with what the content of the song. So maybe I hear the song and go, oh yeah, I know that.
You probably recognize all of them. One of my favorite songs ever, just called Damn It. Great song. Banger of a song.
Yes, I've heard that song.
There you go.
Couldn't tell you how it goes.
There you go. An album called Take Off Your Pants and Jacket was a great album. Enema of the State was a phenomenal album. One of the early Rob Brown bought that album with his own money albums, without a doubt. So yeah, never gotten to see Blink. We'll get to see Blink tonight. Pretty jacked up about it.
All right, so you've seen Creed twice.
I've now seen Creed twice.
Do you think, and you never got to see him beforehand, so that's pretty cool.
Correct.
So you think Blink's going to be better? A different kind of band.
No. It's Creed, dude.
Will they have a light show?
It's Creed. Oh, I'm sure it's going to be way over the top. I got told when I told a buddy of mine over the weekend that I was going to see Blink for the first time, I got told, have your camera ready for when the confetti cannons go off. Now, confetti cannon, full cannon. I'm all in. It's going to be incredible. Can't wait. Okay. Said cannons, by the way. Confetti cannons. Multiple cannons for confetti.
Okay, we've in person seen Solo Cup cannons.
Correct.
But I've never been to a place where there was confetti cannons. I've seen them on TV, but I've never been to a place.
Well, I get to tonight. Pretty jacked about it. Never seen Blink. Getting to see Blink for the first time today.
Is it just them?
Don't know, to tell you the truth. Don't know. Haven't looked. Almost kind of want to be surprised. We'll see. But I am very excited about it. All right. Couple more things to get in here before we get out of here for the day. I know I said that we were going to have the interviews with Munson and Klubnik. Obviously had multiple guests throughout the day today, so ended up out of time. We will run those for you on tomorrow's edition of the show. I do want to do this.
Don't forget, we have a special guest tomorrow that we haven't talked about enough.
You are not incorrect. Tomorrow, coming up at 8:20 a.m., we will be joined here in studio by All Elite Wrestling megastar Orange Cassidy, who is, by the way, over the past 3 or so years, become a beyond favorite of both the Great One and I.
Yeah, so get your questions ready for Orange. Cannot wait to see him sitting right over there. That's going to be awesome.
He will be in studio with us tomorrow at 8:20, and we're pumped about it, man. It's going to be awesome.
I'm curious. We had someone earlier tell us that wrestling was fake in the building, and he thought it was impactful when he said that. Should we have Orange visit that person?
Listen, I'm going to tell you how I handle this now. Just like I did this morning. When someone says that, I just stop talking, because what they are looking for is a rise. They're looking for the reaction. And Lonzo, you know this better than anybody else. The worst thing in the world is when you go and you jab to get a reaction out of somebody and they never even look up from the book.
You're right.
It's the worst thing in the world.
But did he not make a mistake doing that to me?
Yeah, he did, because you bit. Hook, line, and sinker. You were all in on it.
No. From here on, he can't do anything that's not fake, because I'm going to point out everything that he does, which I did earlier, and he couldn't dispute anything that I said, including his fake ripped jeans, that I will, because he did it in such a way. It was, all right, it was Mark Ryan-esque. And when you do something Mark Ryan-esque, you're going to get me coming at you for a while.
I'm just saying. You bit, you gave him the reaction he was looking for.
He regrets already. He's going to regret even further, like 6 months from now, when I'm still doing it.
I wish you the best.
Colonel Grudge for a reason.
I wish you the best. All right. I do want to throw one thing out here at you real quick. Not terribly long ago, Georgia coach Kirby Smart took a jab at the Oregon Ducks, made a reference to Oregon being able to recruit because of Phil Knight's money, right? He did this back about a week and a half ago. Kirby Smart said, I wish I could get some of that NIL money he's giving Dan Lanning. Now, it was a lighthearted joke because Kirby Smart and Dan Lanning have worked together. They're both from the Nick Saban coaching tree. They were on the same staff under Nick Saban at one point. But my dude, my guy, Dan Lanning, decided to return fire on the Pat McAfee show.
We don't have that yet. I think it's impressive that, guys like Kirby have been signing the number one class in the nation without, any NIL money this entire time. So impressive. No, hey, obviously, Coach Smart took a little shot at us. I don't think it's a serious. If you want to be a top 10 team in college football, you better have great support. We have that, but it's not. It's 1 + 1 + 1, right? It's also the 34 or 300 teams that we went to this spring to visit us, the 23 satellite camps. It's when they come to your campus. It's our staff. It's our alignment with our entire university that makes, recruiting work.
Okay. So this. Yes. Dan Lanning. He's the man of the people. Gets it. This is why I've said I have zero sympathy for coaches complaining about having to work harder and do more. Your job is going to get harder. You know who else's job gets harder year after year? Everybody's. Quick, somebody text me if you've ever had a boss come to you and go, hey, you're doing great work. I'm decreasing your responsibilities this year. Not your paycheck. Your paycheck's staying the same. In fact, you're probably getting a raise. But I'm going to ask you to do less. I'm going to give you fewer tasks to do. It's never happened. Everybody. And Dan Lanning just said what I've been saying for a long time. Is your job going to get harder? Yes. Yes, your job is going to get harder. You make a lot of money, bro. A lot of money. Coaches at the top, coaches who were at the FCS level, the second level, the lower schools. I got a little bit more sympathy for them. But the guys at the top level, none. Is Dan Lanning in an advantageous position because of the fact that Phil Knight is willing to go everybody? And make sure that everyone wearing a wing on the side of a helmet or a polo is hooked up? Yeah, of course Dan Lanning is in an advantageous situation for that. Of course he is. But that doesn't mean that you just get to go, oh, everything is sad and I hate it now. No. Your job is harder. Do it. Do it or leave. Do it and somebody else will step in and do it. It's not that hard. So, props to Dan Lanning for being the dude who owns it.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
By the way, your job's harder because you joined a real conference. Now what are you going to do?
Anyway, win the conference.
Yeah, we'll see. Are you going to put money on that right now? Oregon's winning the Big Ten.
BetMGM conference champion odds college football. Let's do Twitter trending topics, and then I'll
let's do that. All right. The first thing that's I want to do what the X because
that's what I meant.
There is no Twitter anymore. All right. The first thing that's Xing is Linda Carter.
Ooh, Wonder Woman's trending. Because she has a cameo in Deadpool and Wolverine.
No.
Okay.
No, and I wouldn't do that. I'm not going to tell you who if you haven't.
I know
seen
there's
already.
at least one already.
Yeah, there's many.
And it's my fault because I should have seen it before I left, but it didn't work out that way.
You're never going to go see the movie, so it doesn't matter. Linda Carter, dude, you have a track record, okay? It's not like
all the movies I want to go see, I really want to see.
Okay.
And
right,
I am a bigger Deadpool fan than anybody you know. I'm all in.
I don't know about that. All right. Linda Carter is Xing because it's one of those things. Which one is the better Wonder Woman? Her or Gal Gadot?
Oh, Linda Carter.
Gal Gadot any day.
No, it's not.
For sure.
And I love Gal Gadot. I love Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, but Linda Carter was perfect.
Linda Carter was Not, I mean, and I was alive when she was popular, and you were not yet. And yeah, you spin around all you want. No, Gal Gadot any day. All right, the next thing that's Xing is Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar is trending because he I didn't watch it. He showed up at Bloodsport the other day.
He did not show up to anything. That's one of the reasons why he is Xing, is because nobody
knows where he is.
People are wondering if he's going to show back up.
He's off killing mooses with his bare hands.
And it's more so, I think, a projection that Gunther is probably going to win the title, and will Brock show up to challenge him for it?
I mean, Gunther one time said in that chair right here on that microphone in this radio station that his dream match was indeed Brock Lesnar, and it went national when he said that on the show.
It did do that. So that's why it is Xing. The next thing that's Xing is Xbox 360.
360. That's a very old system. I still have one. So do you. Trending because right now, if your name's Rob, you can trade in your 360 for a brand new Xbox Series X.
No, that's not why. I mean, you could try it though.
That'd have been awesome.
You can go tell them, do you know who I am? And maybe
never worked. Why would it start
It's
now?
soon to be the number one radio show in the morning, the number one sports show, and the number one broadcaster right over there.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah, it's so you could say that. Maybe get it. 360 is Xing because they shut down the marketplace over the weekend. Yes, it was still up.
It was still up?
It was still up. That's why it's
Really?
Xing. And people apparently were still using it. So,
I mean,
you don't keep something going if no one's using it.
There were a couple of games on 360. So I have in the back of my TV, I have a multi HDMI splitter, right? So you can plug different things in. My 360 was plugged up because there were a couple of games that were 360 exclusive that did not move over to the one. That every now and then you got that, you want a little gaming nostalgia. So I'd fire up the 360 for that, but I had no idea the store was still open.
Well, it isn't now. So
was still open.
Yeah. All right. And finally, the last thing that's Xing is Logan.
I am assuming, obviously, we are not talking about Paul. We are talking about the one with the claws and the pointy hair.
Yes.
Because Deadpool and Wolverine is out. And I was going to go see it tonight, but I'm going to see Blink 182. So I will see it tomorrow. Also, here's my question, Zoe, with 12 seconds left. The fiance said, I'll go to it, but I want to watch Deadpool 1 and 2 first. How long do I give her to watch those two films?
Tomorrow?
I think it's got to be like during the day, because we got Wrestling Wednesday, we got Panther Fan Fest Thursday. I'm in Atlanta till next Sunday, so if we don't see it tomorrow, I gotta wait till next week if I wait for her. Hey, y'all have a great rest of your day. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. We will see you back here tomorrow to do it all over again, but better on the Rob Brown Show. Water polo is murder in the water. It's the Fan Upstate. Later.
That hurt. Oh,
What'd you do?
Those little metal things that house the buttons, if you hit those wrong, it's painful. Rumor, Steelers quarterback Justin Fields has been having a good training camp, and the team is open-minded to the possibility of him being the team's starting quarterback, per ESPN. It's going to happen, and then you're going to have to tell me how right I was.
Because no teams throw up smoke screens in camp.
Do you think, man? You worried? You should be.
Smoke screen season, baby. All right, dudes and dudettes. Joey B said, I finally retired my 360. It only lived for the last decade to run NCAA 14. Yeah, that's absolutely fair. Absolutely fair.
And maybe that's why it held on all this time, and maybe that's why they're getting rid of it. Could be.
Honestly, that's probably got something to do with it. trying to think what the last game I played that was 360.
I'm also here for the fall of Russ Wilson.
Hater.
Thank you, James.
I played all the old GTA games on 360. Oh, like a lot. All right, we're out of here. I got to go do stuff, and then I got to leave. So you're all amazing people.
That's like everyone's work. We got to go do stuff, and then we got to leave.
Yeah. Thanks for being here. Have a lovely day. We'll see you back here tomorrow to do it all over again, but better on the Rob Brown Show. Goodbye.
I probably should take the training stuff that I need to take. I have to go meet Kevin, the owner.